investigating after an envelope containing a suspicious white powder is mailed to the Georgia Secretary of State's office. Chief Operating Officer Gabe Sterling tells Channel 2 Action News he believes it was sent weeks ago.
Yes, this is part of a series of these envelopes that were sent out about a month ago that were targeting elections offices around the country.
He says once it was discovered, they cleared the room and called the FBI, who sent in a hazmat team. Still no rain in the outlook for Atlanta. Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast is coming up at 12:05. It is probably the best news Rockdale County residents have heard since a fire at the Biolab plant that sent a toxin plume in the air 19 days ago.
The shelter in place for all of Rockdale County will be effective immediately.
That after environmental officials declared the air safe. Another milestone, the county is pulling out of its involvement in the disaster.
And now it transitions to the complete lack of Biolab.
County Commission Chair Oz Nesbitt reacting to Biolab's refusal to show up at the update.
I think is a slap in the face.
The fire and toxic cloud forced 17,000 to evacuate and a shelter-in-place order for many more. Steve Summers, 95.5 WSB.
Georgia's Wellstar Health System is being sued for alleged sex discrimination.
Wellstar Health's been hit with a proposed class action suit by a nurse who says the system's plan discriminates against non-heterosexual women by forcing them to jump through extra hoops for fertility treatment coverage. The lawsuit claims that a provision in the Wellstar plan requires women seeking such coverage to demonstrate their own infertility. The plaintiff is a lesbian woman who sought to become pregnant. The lawsuit claims the provision makes it cheaper and easier for heterosexual women to obtain coverage. I'm Bloomberg's Scott Carr for 95.5 WSB.
A new report on how social support is linked to improved cancer screenings in the U.S.
Women who have social support are more likely to stay up to date on critical cancer screenings. A study by the American Cancer Society found that having emotional support from friends, family, or a spouse can have a big impact on whether or not women receive mammograms. Women who reported little or no support were 40% less likely to get regular mammograms.
The findings are published in the journal Cancer Causes and Control. It's the start of a Georgia Bulldogs football weekend on WSB, a brand new experience for the Dogs and their fans facing Texas for the first time as a member of the SEC.
It's one of the most anticipated games of the college football season.
It's a great battle between two programs that have really been part of college football history for a long time.
Coach Kirby Smart and the Dogs face a daunting challenge against the #1 Longhorns. Georgia running back Cash Jones looks forward to returning to his home state.
I'll definitely have a lot of fun at that game. Definitely excited to be back in Texas.
This is the first time Georgia has played Texas in Austin since 1958, and it's just the 6th meeting all time between the two schools. Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
And pregame starts tomorrow at 3:30, kickoff at 7:30 on your home of the Dogs. The investigation into the unexpected death of former One Direction singer Liam Payne continues today. Payne died at the age of 31 on Wednesday after falling from his third-floor hotel balcony in Argentina. It's not yet known if the fall was intentional or a tragic accident. His family released a statement reading in part, "Liam will forever live in our hearts, and we'll remember him for his kind, funny, and brave soul." Payne leaves behind a 7-year-old son. It is 12:04, and it's time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Veronica Harrell joins us from the WSB 24-hour Traffic Center.
And right now, Lisa, still dealing with delays over in Norcross. At this overturned tractor-trailer crash, it is in the clearing stages, folks. They're doing a pretty good job of removing it from Jimmy Carter Boulevard at I-85. But in the meantime, you are dealing with some brake lights over on I-85, north and southbound. Avoid that by using Indian Trail. Elsewhere, as you travel downtown, connector, just volume 75-85 north and southbound. And then do watch out for construction over in the right lane. Only a tap of the brakes, though. I-20 eastbound at MLK Junior Drive. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast, sponsored by Shoemate, the official plumber of Atlanta Homes. Here's WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards.
Blue sky, sunshine today, high 68, sunset around 7 o'clock. Football Friday kicking off with temperatures in the upper 50s, low 60s. And by the end of the fourth quarter, temperatures will be in the mid 50s. Lows tonight dropping down to around 45 degrees. Tomorrow afternoon, mostly sunny, high 72. Even warmer on Sunday, morning low 47, afternoon high 75. Monday and on Tuesday. Morning lows in the upper 50s, daytime highs in the mid to upper 70s. There's a good chance we'll reach 80 degrees again by the end of next week, and there's a good chance that we won't see a drop of rain from the sky through the end of October.
We have 58 degrees in Marietta, 58 in Swanee, and 58 right here in Midtown. More news at 12:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Lisa Nicholas, 95.5 WSB.
WSB is your home of the Dogs.
Georgia will win it 41-31.
It's the game of the year in college football.
Two programs that have been part of football history for a long time.
Your Georgia Bulldogs, the Texas Longhorns in prime time.
We haven't played our best game yet.
Coverage starts tomorrow at 3:30, only on your home of the Dogs, 95.5 WSB. Brought to you in part by Hoffman Financial Group, official partner of the Georgia Bulldogs.
1-0, all engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Conversationalist, is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America, live from the front parlor in the Texas Governor's Mansion. The last time I was in this room, the former governor was ranting and raving about the hippies marching down the street with choice language we can't say on radio. I've got with me in the room the current governor of the state of Texas. I'm here for the University of Georgia, University of Texas game. Listen, I lost a bet, and I'm supposed to bark in front of the governor of Texas, but I also have a sense of shame and humility, and I just can't bring myself to do it because I got on that plane last night on the way over here, and these UGA fans, and I'm a LSU fan anyway, they were barking at the people who had University of Texas stuff, and a poor guy from Oregon. I don't even know what he was doing on the plane. They were barking at them, and the flight attendant, who is from Atlanta but a Georgia Tech fan, threatened to evict everyone from the plane. So it's not going to happen. So instead, I'm going to be joined by Governor Abbott, who's sitting right here next to me. Thank you very much for lending your home to me doing the show today.
Welcome to Texas.
So let's, first of all, I'm going to ambush you with something you may not know. I'll get your hot take on it. This morning in Pennsylvania, Bob Casey just launched an ad with him hugging Donald Trump. And in Wisconsin, Tammy Baldwin is doing an ad. It just went up on air about an hour ago with her and Donald Trump. Makes me wonder what the polling in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania should be if the Democratic incumbents are running ads with Donald Trump.
Is showing the desperation that Kamala has also shown already, and that is Kamala is a sinking ship. Once she began talking to people, having to answer real questions, people finally realized she's a blank deck. She has no idea what she's talking about. And so her ship is sinking as Kamala's ship is sinking. It's going to be difficult for Democrats in these close races for Senate like Casey in Pennsylvania. And they're going to be doing everything they can, even if it's embracing former President Trump, now soon to be elected to be the next president of the United States.
Such a threat to democracy. Okay, I want to talk to you about Texas because, first of all, I'm a big fan of this state. If I wasn't living where I live right now with my wife, I would probably find somewhere in Texas to live. I've got, being from Louisiana, I actually had a ton of family from Texas. My mother's family were very hard advocates of me going to Texas A&M, but I didn't. Didn't go to LSU either. Went over to Georgia, met my wife, and stayed. But you guys are dealing with a crisis that no one else seems to be dealing with along the border. And now we've got the reports about the Venezuelan gang is in Texas. As the governor of the largest state in the continental United States, being overwhelmed with this sort of stuff, can you talk about the impact on your social services and the programs Texas has for the poor and how that's impacted before we even get into law enforcement?
Well, obviously, whenever you have people coming into the country illegally, it poses great challenges, whether it be on health care, on education, so many other ways. It poses a challenge, and that's exactly why I issued an order to all the hospitals in the state of Texas that they begin to calculate, determine, assess, and inform me about any expenses they have incurred. Because let me tell you what we're going to be seeking to do. We are seeking to recover from the United States of America all costs incurred by the state of Texas for all these social services, because this is a problem created by the United States of America, not by the state of Texas. And the United States of America is requiring the state of Texas to incur and pay for these costs, and that is wrong. And so we will be sending a bill to Washington, D.C., and if they fail to pay, we will be sending a lawsuit to Washington, D.C.
Now, if you talk to me, if you can, from what you can, about this Venezuelan gang, because there are now reports. A friend of mine who works with the DEA says they're now appearing in parts of Georgia and Gwinnett County, one of our most diverse counties. We have the situation in Aurora, Colorado. Now there have been reports about San Antonio and El Paso, and it sounds like this is the most violent gang, more so even than MS-13.
They are the most violent gang internationally. They have been said to make MS-13 look like Junior League. And the fact of the matter is they're very well organized, but they both prey upon migrants, but also commit other crimes. There was a little 12-year-old girl in Houston, Texas, who was raped and murdered by two members of this Tren de Aragua gang, which is very dangerous. And that's exactly why I came out and said that this is public enemy number one. They're the number one gang that the state of Texas is going after. We have these anti-gang units where we work in collaboration with federal officials and with local law enforcement officials. We're all targeting them and going after them. I issue rewards for information about these gang members, and it's been leading to positive results. From El Paso, Texas, we arrested more than 100 potential Tren de Aragua gang members. In San Antonio, dozens have been arrested. In Houston, they've been arrested. In Dallas, they've been arrested. And so they go to the large cities where migrants may have gone to themselves, whether it be in Texas, in Colorado, in Georgia, or so many other states that they're prolific. In New York, you may recall a story a couple of months ago where Tren de Aragua members in New York attacked police officers in New York. So, and know this also, it's been surfaced and learned through intelligence that Tren de Aragua members in the United States have the green light to shoot law enforcement officers in the United States.
Now, I'm hearing you talk about this in the arrests, given that it was a gang that was set up inside prisons in Venezuela and spread from there. How does law enforcement deal with them then getting into a contained prison environment and not festering from inside? What do you do?
Well, there's all types of strategies that can be used in prison to make sure that they are not able to, as you say, fester and grow and strengthen from within. But they're far better in prison than they are on our streets. Our job is twofold. One is to identify and arrest and jail any of these members, and in doing so, helping Tren de Aragua understand, listen, if you're coming to the United States of America, you made a bad decision coming to the state of Texas, because you're not going to be able to roam free. You're not going to be able to form your organizations on our streets. We're going to do everything we can to seize your property, to arrest you, to put you out of business in the state of Texas.
I want to shift gears and talk about something that you are a hero of mine on over this past year. I gave a speech last night to a Christian charity group in Atlanta before hopping the plane. One of the questions that came from the crowd is demographically, as this nation becomes more and more people dependent on government, fewer people paying taxes, how do you get people back? And I said, the only way that I know that's been proven in state after state that has seen people move back to the right away from Democrats is you offer school choice. And Democrats hate it so much, parents who may otherwise vote Democrats suddenly become Republicans, like in Florida and other states. And now you, having had resistance from your own party, primaried a number of people successfully to be able to build the pool of support, assuming the election goes the way we expect in Texas, to be able to get school choice here. Why go through the effort of battling Republicans in primary? Because it is rare for an incumbent governor in your position to take on his own party in primaries.
So I gave the legislature plenty of opportunities to vote in favor of school choice, and the Democrats always vote against it. In the Texas Senate, they always vote in favor of it. The only problem was in the Texas House, and there were enough Republicans in the Texas House that voted with the Democrats to deny school choice. here's what happened, and that is when all of those Republicans in the Texas House this past year got elected in the primary 2 years ago, there was a ballot initiative asking those very same voters, do you support or do you not support school choice? In each of their districts, about 90% of the people who voted in favor of that House member said they support school choice. And then that House member went to Austin, Texas, and voted against the interests and desires of their own constituents. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to give every legislator a chance to pass school choice. And if you fail to do it, we're going to do it the hard way. And I will publicly campaign against you to defeat you, to make sure that we elect somebody who represents the values, the articulated values and desires of their own constituents. So all I was doing, their constituents are my constituents also. I was fighting for my constituents, for their constituents, for their value set, to make sure their constituents were going to have school choice. And we won overwhelmingly. We now have enough votes in the Texas House of Representatives to pass school choice, and that's exactly what we will do in the coming session.
Now, I know teachers' unions are pouring money in now to try to, in some districts, either obstruct in the House or the Senate. They've been pouring money in against Ted Cruz. I know the latest polling has him ahead. It seems remarkable to me, and one of the things I love about Texas is this happens, it seems like, every couple of years, where Democrats throw their money into this state thinking they can take it, which deprives them of money in states they might be able to take. And, I mean, they just make suckers bets in Texas and keep losing.
We call it the Great Incinerator because their money is incinerated when it comes here. Let's go back in time to my race 2 years ago when Beto O'Rourke ran. And he got most of his money from outside the state of Texas, more than $100 million, and it was all incinerated. And so that's a good thing because this is where Democrat money comes to die.
Yeah, I forgot. The white Stacey Abrams ran against you, and yes, he and Stacey Abrams, the gifts that the Democrats have kept on giving to us. Now, before you get out of here, I've only got a couple minutes left. I should say the main reason I'm here is we have this historic football game. And the pride of Georgia, my flagship station in Atlanta, #1 midday radio show there right now, and all these UGA fans listening who thought they were going to have a fantastic year, and now they're coming to Texas, and the odds don't look good. But I know Governor Kemp is coming over. He's probably barking on his way over from Houston where he's driving, and I'm assuming you feel confident about the University of Texas.
Listen, Texas has put together a very solid team, but understand this. Texas respects every opponent, but especially an opponent like Georgia. Georgia is a legendary team, and they deserve to be recognized for the champions they are, unless and until we are able to stand up and beat them. That said, when you look at the quarterback room that Texas has, when you look at the wide receiver room, when you look at the offensive and defensive line, and in fact the overall defense that Texas has, which is maybe ranked either #1 or #2 in the country, this is a more solid Texas team than we've had since the days of Vince Young when we won a national championship. So this is going to be, hopefully, a game for the ages where you have two of the best teams in the United States of America playing against each other. There'll be millions of fans across the country watching this, and it's just going to be a great fall spectacle here in Texas.
I have to admit a soft spot for the University of Texas, and it doesn't mean I'm talking about the cheerleaders. You guys have a Manning now, and being from Louisiana, it's like it is genetic in the blood of Louisianans that we have to root for people who have Mannings on teams. So I got a conundrum. My wife's family, they're tech people. I like UGA. I'm an LSU guy, but it's going to be an interesting game. There's a massive crowd here. Austin has got the Formula One race and this game this weekend, and there's something else going on. Somebody at the hotel was talking about. I was amazed. I think I got the last hotel room in the city. It is slammed. The one thing I haven't seen, though, that I'm surprised by is the tents on the sidewalk. The last time I was here, there were tents everywhere of homeless people, and I haven't seen them so far downtown. It seems like maybe common sense is starting to prevail around here.
Some common sense, and maybe the law that I signed that bans homeless encampments, and that got rid of them.
Well, God bless you. I mean, honestly, the last time I was here, I was staying, at the time, I guess it was the Intercon. It's changed now, and I couldn't walk outside without falling into a pup tent.
Yeah, that was completely unacceptable, and I said, we're not going to have it anymore. And so we passed a law saying they cannot exist anymore. And then in the aftermath of that, the United States Supreme Court issued a decision recently saying that homeless encampments can be banned.
Now, Governor, this is where I'm a bad radio shows because I forget most radio shows, like every 5 seconds, stop and say, I'm talking to Governor Greg Abbott of Texas. And now here we are at the end, and I'll remind people, I've been talking to the governor of Texas. Thank you for opening your house to me today. Thank you for letting me come to the tailgate tonight. Hopefully Governor Kemp makes it over here before I get off air so I can chat with him. And if you want to come back and harass him, you're more than welcome to. But thank you very much for being here.
Great to be with you, and hook 'em horns.
When the world seems crazy, he'll keep you sane. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
1220 in the Coolray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. A new delay in Norcross. It is a stalled motorist 85 southbound over at Pleasantdale Road, exit 96. It knocks out the center lane. Going to cause some delay for you, but still dealing with that overturned tractor trailer over on Jimmy Carter Boulevard at I-85. You got lanes blocked there. Try to avoid that by using Indian Trail Road. And this report brought to you by True Natural Gas. They can report aliens have landed, but that wouldn't be true. Here's something that is true. True Natural Gas offers low rates and great customer service. Visit TrueNaturalGas.com. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
With Election Day fast approaching.
And we are up in the polls.
Early voting is underway in
He
Georgia.
will sign a national abortion ban.
Whatever happens in this election.
You believe in things that the American people don't believe in.
Matters to
when
you.
the truth and facts are required.
And that's why it matters to us.
Especially at a moment like this.
Bringing the companies back. We're going to lower taxes.
Tune in throughout the day to stay up to date.
95.5 WSB.
Your 2024 election station.
You know the old expression, I love it when a plan comes together? Well, with our First Liberty Notes, this has been so true. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about our family's company all the time right here on this station. For over 30 years, we've been the local lender who said yes when the big banks say no. A couple of months ago, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Folks from airline pilots to physicians to even pastors are now earning 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of local small businesses. If you're a qualified investor with a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty Notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty Notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. SEC accredited investor status must be verified. Securities not offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Your business needs a network it can count on.
Power's out.
Comcast Business has you covered with Wi-Fi backup to help keep your business up and running, even when your power goes out.
Everybody in the warehouse good?
Lights are out, but the Wi-Fi's up. Let's power on.
It's from the company with 99.9% network reliability.
Break room, you good?
Can't microwave my burrito, but Wi-Fi's fine. Let's power on.
Power on with the leader in connectivity, Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Learn how to get Comcast Business Internet and Security Edge plus Wi-Fi backup for $59 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement when you add Comcast Business Unlimited Mobile. And ask how to get up to a $600 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle. Don't wait. Call or go online today. Ends 11/17/24. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 300 megabit per second internet, Security Edge, and Wi-Fi backup. Eco bill and auto pay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change.
When it rains, it pours right into your crawl space, and that creates that musty smell and dangerous mold growth under your house. Meteorologist Christina Edwards here for American Crawl Space Solutions. Make the smell and the water go away and stop the water from coming back. Call American Crawl Space Solutions. They're experts at keeping your crawl space dry and preventing the mold from growing in your home. Give them a call today.
American Crawl Space Solutions. Foundations too.
City of Hope. We're more than just a top-ranked cancer hospital. For over 100 years, we've been making breakthroughs, pushing the limits of what's possible, targeting cancer at the molecular level, pioneering treatments used worldwide. At City of Hope, your entire cancer-fighting team is bound together by a single mission: to cure your cancer. And now City of Hope is closer than ever, providing patients in Metro Atlanta the cancer care they deserve. Learn more at cityofhope.org.
I'm Kim Green, CEO of Georgia Power. Hurricane Helene was the most destructive hurricane in our company's history. And while most everyone who can receive power has been restored, we know many of you have endured unthinkable personal hardships. We know the road ahead will be long and difficult, but we'll be right there with you. We are here for Georgia, and we are here for you. To learn more about our response and ways you can get help if you need it, visit georgiapower.com/Helene.
Fall's a busy time and selling your home can be overwhelming. The guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate's the easiest way to sell your home. It's Eric Erickson here. Mark Spain Real Estate's guaranteed offer allows you to bypass the market, skip the uncertainties of a traditional home sale, and close within days. No showings, no open houses, and no costly repairs. With over 12,500 five-star reviews, you can trust the most experienced real estate team in the U.S. to sell your home fast. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
95.5 WSB, your 2024 election station.
Join Eric's Army of Activists. Text ARMY to 33777 now.
Greetings, welcome. It's Eric Erickson here. So it's technically an open line Friday, but I had to allow my producer call screener. It's that time of the month and he needed to go kill animals for hormonal reasons. And so he's gone to kill hogs in Florida. So we don't actually have a call screener today. However, those of you with iPhones, those of you who generate the blue chat bubbles, unlike Kevin, who's in the room with me, you can use your voice memo app and you can email a voice memo to contact@ewerickson.com. I'll actually make Philip work instead of letting him sneak out to go fish, and he can listen, make sure it's appropriate, and I have the power to play that. We are now also, looks like Governor Kemp is not going to make it to Austin before the show's over, so we're going to figure out how to get him on the phone with me. We'll make that work. So, how about them apples? Now, I got to tell you, before we get it, look, we'll get into what happened last night. We will. Trump was actually very funny. You know he's very funny because the humorless shrews at the Washington Post, the terrorist propaganda outfit, are very, very unhappy today. They're mourning the loss of their deputy supreme editor, Sinwar, after their supreme editor, Nasrallah, was killed a few weeks ago. And they're like, Trump was not funny. Orange man, bad. No humor, bad. Because he made jokes about Kamala Harris, and he made a joke about Doug Emhoff and the nanny. How inappropriate. Kamala Harris did not show up at the Al Smith dinner last night. The last person running for president who did not show up at the Al Smith dinner was Walter Mondale. And look what happened to him. So she sent a video after she saw what happened, after Sinwar decided he wasn't going to show up to entertain the Catholics yesterday. She decided she better at least send a video so she didn't wind up like that guy. The Pope sent the Jews after him in Rafah, and look what happened. So she sent a video. It was not funny. It was so not funny that even Jim Gaffigan, who hates Donald Trump, stood up and started making jokes about how bad the video was. You understand how North Korean propaganda the American media is when the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post, and the New York Times this morning were trying to mention the humor in a video that a professional comedian, Jim Gaffigan, thought was so not funny, he compared it to him FaceTiming his kids during a piano recital. That's how unfunny it was. We will talk about that because there's actually a tie-in here to the campaign. I'm beginning to get more and more confident that Kamala Harris is going to lose, and I want to explain to you why when we come back, before we even get into what Trump said last night. Before I do any of that, I got to tell you about my Eden Pure Thunderstorm. You can get 3 of them for less than $200. You save $200 at EdenPureDeals.com. You'll see the discount code box, ERIC3, ERICK3. Yeah, I've got mine in my travel bag because you can hold it in your hand, and I'm in Austin, Texas, surrounded by beatniks, hippies, and pretend cowboys who've decided the way to be a cowboy is to grow long hair and not wear deodorant. And so to make sure that my hotel room would not stink, I have it with me. I've used it in cars. It wipes out smoke odors, litter box odors, pet odors, dirty diaper odors, hippie odors. It works. You can get 3 of them. Save $200. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code ERIC3. You plug it in with a USB cord or you plug it into the wall. It's also an air purifier, so it gets rid of the dust. It gets rid of the pollen. It gets rid of those things that float in the air. And it gets rid of hippie smell in Austin, Texas. So if you go to EdenPureDeals.com, put in the discount code ERIC3. You'll get 3 of them. You'll save $200. You will get them for less than $200. And you can thank me later. Upstairs, downstairs, your travel bag, your RV, your basement, wherever you need them. EdenPureDeals.com, discount code ERIC3.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. I'm Lisa Nicholas. This news brought to you by Jim Ellis Automotive. Our top local story, Gwinnett County Police arrest 2 young suspects in a fentanyl overdose.
Yeah, this one's specifically tragic. There's a 16-year-old female who tragically passed away from an overdose last weekend.
Corporal Juan Matiedo says one of the suspects is a 16-year-old girl. The other is identified as 17-year-old Dino Bonacera. He says a relatively new state law is helping them hold suspects accountable with a mandatory minimum sentence of 10 years in prison if they're convicted. Matiedo says it's one tool that's helped them reduce fatal overdoses by 30% so far this year. Georgia's closing in on 1 million votes cast so far during early voting.
Turnout's been brisk all week, and Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger says people trust the system.
People show what they think when they show up to vote, and they're out there voting.
Weekend voting will be available as well in many metro Atlanta counties, but even with record high turnout, the candidates are still focused on getting more people to the polls. Vice President Harris will be in Atlanta for a Saturday rally before returning late next week for an event with former President Obama. Former President Trump has another campaign rally set for Wednesday in Duluth. Jennifer Perry, 95.5 WSB.
It's the start of a Georgia Bulldogs weekend on WSB. Number 1 Texas, number 5 Georgia meet in Austin tomorrow in one of the most anticipated games of the college football season. Live team coverage of traffic and weather is coming up next. It's 12:31.
Dave Baker here for Air Quality Systems. If you haven't had your heating and air ducts cleaned in the last 5 years, you need Air Quality Systems. They'll come to your house and clean all that gunk out of your ductwork. That's all they do. They won't wash your siding. They won't clean your carpet. They'll just professionally clean your ducts to the same standards using the same process that they use to clean at UGA, at Children's Healthcare, and at other major hospitals in the metro area. You'll get upfront, all-in pricing over the phone, and your ducts will be clean. Simply go to airqualitysystems.com and breathe easy.
Coming up from the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra, a Delta classical concert featuring Georgia's own Roderick Cox conducting Barber's soul-stirring Adagio for strings. Then the orchestra performs music from the opera Dr. Atomic that tells the haunting story of Oppenheimer's nuclear testing. The night ends with Rachmaninoff's Orchestra Romp, Symphonic Dances. Thursday and Saturday, October 24th and 26th at Symphony Hall. Details at aso.org.
You know the old expression, I love it when a plan comes together? Well, with our First Liberty Notes, this has been so true. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about our family's company all the time right here on the station. For over 30 years, we've been the local lender who said yes when the big banks say no. A couple of months ago, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Folks from airline pilots to physicians to even pastors are now earning 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of local small businesses. If you're a qualified investor with a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. Go to firstlibertyga.com and see if our First Liberty Notes are right for you. Go to firstlibertyga.com. That's firstlibertyga.com.
First Liberty Notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. SEC accredited investor status must be verified. Securities not offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Cooler weather, shorter days, busy schedules, all great reasons to treat your family to a Bullfrog hot tub from Brown's Pools and Spas. The perfect place to relax and unwind. Only Bullfrog offers the Jetpack Therapy system. Each seat is customized to fit every body in your family. Now through October 20th, shop the Peaceful Life hot tub sale with instant rebates up to $2,000 or 0% financing. Brown's Pools and Spas, celebrating 50 years of BrownsPools.com.
It is 12:34, time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Veronica Harrell joins us from the WSB 24-hour traffic center. I do know your name, I promise.
Yes, I know you do. Over on 985 southbound. Debris is an oil spill right now, 985 southbound, the left lane of the ramp to State Route 20. Exit 4 is currently blocked, causing delays through Buford. A little better news, stalled motorist is gone. 85 southbound at Pleasantdale Road, exit 96. But Jimmy Carter Boulevard remains shut down at I-85 with that overturned tractor-trailer crash cleanup. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Mostly sunny today, high 68. Clear and cool for tonight, lows in the mid-40s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high 72. On Sunday, abundant sunshine, morning low 47, afternoon high 75.
61 degrees in Decula, 63 degrees in Vinings, and 62 here in Midtown Atlanta. More news at 1 o'clock, breaking news when it happens. I'm Lisa Nicholas, 95.5 WSB.
Smart, fearless, and occasionally funny. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Welcome back. It's Eric Erickson here across the United States via phone. Not going to be able to make it over here before I get off the air. Joining me is the governor of my state, Brian Kemp. Welcome to the show. Thanks for doing this by phone.
Oh, great to do it.
So I will tell you that the governor of Texas didn't trash talk too much about this football game tomorrow, was very complimentary about UGA, but insisted that they would trash your university.
Well, we'll see how it goes. You know, the good news for Georgia, I think, is that we have not played a complete game yet. We've also had two really tough SEC road games, and I think that'll help us being out here in Austin. But it's going to be an incredible atmosphere. Georgia's got a really tough schedule, got a few folks banged up. But, you know, if we play our best game, we got a chance to win. That's all you can ask for.
So, now I want to put something on your radar that I brought up to Governor Abbott's attention. You might not have heard that Tammy Baldwin in Wisconsin about 2 hours ago now, and Bob Casey in Pennsylvania this morning both launched advertisements that have them with Donald Trump, talking about how they agree with Donald Trump on trade policy. And I'm kind of interpreting that as a sign that the Democrats are starting to think the polling for Kamala Harris isn't going the way they thought it would.
Well, I was actually just reading your show notes, Eric, and I saw that advertisement that Casey has out there, and I think that's a telling sign. I mean, to me, for Republicans, we have just got to keep our foot on the gas, get the vote out, don't take anything for granted. But it just seems like the Harris campaign and her and a lot of these other folks really have been pandering just to get every vote that they can. And certainly when you see a United States senator a Democrat breaking with their party and with the president and the vice president on their economic policies, it tells you a lot about what's going on right now. And I just hope the voters don't, you know, let people flip-flop like that and they send Republicans to take control of the United States Senate.
Governor, and for those of you just tuning in, I'm talking to Governor Kemp from Georgia while I'm over here in the governor's mansion in Texas. And Governor Abbott and I were talking about the Venezuelan gang that now he said there have been Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, El Paso. A friend of mine who works with the DEA said there have been concerns about this gang in Gwinnett County and elsewhere. Are they on the radar in Georgia for you guys?
They are a little bit. I mean, we haven't seen certainly, you know, the instances like some other states have. But, you know, it's like Governor Abbott said before, I've said before, the other Republican governors, every state is a border state now because of this administration's border policies or lack of them. And, you know, being 3 weeks before the presidential election or a little less than that now and them acting like they're going to be tough on the border. They just haven't done that. They didn't do that from 2020 to 2022 and they controlled all three branches of the government, and they haven't done that now. And we just cannot let them flip-flop on that issue either. But we're all dealing with those things, Eric. Human trafficking, drugs, fentanyl, these gangs coming into the country, you know, people that are on the terrorist watch list coming into the country. And that's why this election is so important.
Now, speaking of the election, I know you're doing ground game efforts in Georgia, not just for the state legislature, but presidential turnout as well. Get out the vote rally in North Georgia coming up in another week or so. I mean, how do you see things? Early vote is so non-determinative at this point, but it does seem like Republican counties seem to be engaged so far.
Well, we're still modeling that out, but look, the first couple of days of early voting, it's our belief that Republicans have turned out very strong in historic kind of ways. but I don't want to get too overconfident. I mean, I think that's a great sign that our people are going to bank their vote. They're going to pull the trigger. They're taking their name off the list. It allows us to be more efficient of getting the vote out with less people to have to go get, especially for base Republicans as we get closer to Election Day. But we also know that, you know, the Democrats normally make up votes on us over the weekend. And so they're very good at that. So we gotta take all this with a grain of salt. I'm very pleased with what I've seen, but we just got to keep working hard. We got to keep getting the vote out. That's certainly what we're doing for base turnout that helps the whole ticket, including President Trump. But also we're focused, really laser focused on a few of our vulnerable state House and state Senate seats, and we got some targets that we're going after to win some seats back. And so we just got to stay motivated and keep working hard for a few more weeks now.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the state legislature, because I know the state House, there are a couple of seats. We're probably not in danger of losing the majority, but maybe getting too close for comfort. It seems like, from what I've been reading, the Democratic ground game in Georgia might not be as well as they thought it was. And at the same time, we've got some Republicans who really do seem to be in dogfights in the northern suburbs of Atlanta, and then some in, I guess, some of the South Georgia cities.
Well, I know Marty and I were down doing a Get Out the Vote rally and event with Noah Harbuck in Middle Georgia the other day. We had that race. We polled that race, a month ago or 6 weeks ago. He was down by 7 points. We polled it the other day after we started doing our targeting. We're door knocking there to turn out base Republicans, but also to make sure that people know what Noah stands for and what his opponent stands against in good policies that we've been doing when it comes to crime and taxes and, other things like that, boys playing in girls sports and things of that nature. And, that race is now tied. So that's a seat that originally, Republicans weren't so sure we were going to be able to pick up. And now it looks like we got a real shot at that. So we're not only defending our seats and our majorities in the legislature, but we're also going on offense in some races too.
Now, before you get off here, let me just let you put in your plug for early and absentee voting. I've got my absentee ballot. It showed up at the House yesterday when I wasn't there and intend to cast it, but I keep trying to tell my Republican friends that you don't know what the weather is going to be on Election Day, and the system has been made, as you say, easy to vote and hard to cheat, so you might as well get out there as soon as they can and make sure their vote gets cast.
Well, that's exactly what I'm going to do as soon as I can get back to Athens. I'm going to vote early. I'm going to bank my vote. I mean, to me, this is a shirts and skins election. Most people are not undecided. If you're one of those people, like you said on the radio the other day, go cast your ballot. You'll quit getting mailers. You'll hopefully quit getting phone calls, and people will leave you alone. But it really is the best way for us to be efficient and to make sure we're getting all our people out to vote. And, I would remind people too, Eric, if they're, getting an absentee ballot for some reason, it gets close to the election and they're concerned about the mail, they can always drop that ballot off at their local elections office. So I would encourage them to do that as well.
Governor, last thing for you, I want to put a pitch in for a piece of legislation for next year that I hope you and the Republicans might get behind. And I'm a big fan of the idea that after the election is over, if we continue to get text messages demanding money from politicians, that whoever sends them gets the death penalty. I think that might get bipartisan support for that.
I think you probably would.
Governor, thank you so much. Go Dogs, and I hope you have a great weekend. You're going to be over here for this game, right?
Yeah, we're actually headed to Austin now, so go Dogs. We need a big win this weekend.
Well, maybe I'll see you over here tonight at this party. Thanks very much for calling in.
Yeah, have a great day. Thank you.
You too. That is Brian Kemp, the governor of Georgia. Y'all, I think you get bipartisan support for this. The amount of text messages. Now, so I'm also in the doghouse. I have to confess, at some point, someone tied my phone number to my wife. So my wife is not only getting text messages begging for donations from Christy, who's never made a political donation in her life, you should know. She's also getting them from me. She's not only getting them from me, she's actually getting real text messages from politicians for me. She got a text message the other day from some politician from some state. I don't even know who this person is. thinking that it was my cell phone number. Neither of us have any idea how this person got my cell phone number or got her cell phone number, let alone thought it was me. And you know who gets in trouble for that stuff. It is not the random politician troll who text messages my wife looking for me. It is your host who gets in trouble because his wife gets text messages for her husband, and she hates politicians. I mean, you know what they say, the old joke that politics comes from the Greek word poly meaning many and ticks meaning blood-sucking creatures, and she's getting these people texting me on her cell phone, and she's furious with me. Your beloved host is in trouble because these people are texting my wife. I think the death penalty is appropriate, if nothing more than to save my marriage. Now, we shall move on because I gotta go back to this. Yes, we're getting to Trump. I got lots of audio, but I had big guests. Kamala Harris, I'm beginning to believe, is going to lose. I was talking to a Democratic friend of mine yesterday who every single one of you listening to me right now would know who this person is. They are regularly on television, and the despair in his voice was palpable. The level of frustration in his voice is palpable. And what he was telling me, pulling back the curtain a little bit on the biggest problem between Kamala Harris, is the way she got her campaign structured. He's venting in large part about Joe Biden taking so long to drop out because Kamala Harris has his team and Barack Obama's team working together. And if you're a longtime listener to this program, you know those people hate each other's guts. So there's no clear chain of command. There's no clear line of authority. She also has her family members involved who ran her own primary into the ground, and she's trying to get all these people stuck together with a coexist bumper sticker to try to make a campaign work in ways that aren't working. And they're fighting with each other internally. You have different budgetary demands depending on who you talk to. The ground game operation that she's put together in Philadelphia was Joe Biden's ground game operation, which isn't a good operation. And by the way, no one can find who's doing what. They're spending millions of dollars on ground game operations of the Democratic Party side, and no one can seem to find they're actually registering voters. So, for example, in college towns in North America, it is the biggest base of young voters for Kamala Harris. Did you know? Because I did not know until yesterday. I did not know. There has been no coordinated Democratic effort to do voter registration of young college students this time. The Biden team thought they were doing it, but no one budgeted for it. It is political malpractice. And these Democrats that I'm talking to, who you all would know, are beginning to despair. There was a big story in the Politico 2 days ago about the Democrats in Pennsylvania angry with the Harris team over how they're handling Philadelphia. They don't think they're doing it. Democrats, you got to remember, they're not Republicans. Democrats do not start knifing each other in the back before the election. They wait until after the election. The fact that they're knifing each other in the back right now is another indication of how bad it is. Tammy Baldwin in Wisconsin would not be running an ad with Donald Trump, who she hates and considers a threat to democracy, if Tammy Baldwin thought she was winning. On top of that, Bob Casey in Pennsylvania would not be running an ad with Donald Trump in Pennsylvania if he thought he was winning Pennsylvania. They would not be running ads with a man they consider a threat to democracy if they thought that Kamala Harris was doing well in their states. The fact that two Democrats who are endangered are running ads featuring Donald Trump suggests Kamala Harris's polling in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania is terrible. And by the way, I will have you know, I talked to one of the most senior members of the Trump campaign 2 days ago, and he said in their polling, they feel really good about Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, but they feel even better about Michigan than they do Wisconsin. I'm telling you, all the signs are pointing to the wheels are coming off the Harris campaign. We're going to have like Jonathan Martin at Politico, once he starts savaging Harris, because you know he's been a big defender of her lately, the reporter who a year ago was writing how Democrats wanted her out of the race, if he starts savaging her and her campaign the next week, you know his book deal is toast and he knows she's going to lose. All these reporters who have been cheering her on, they've all got book deals, the tell-all scoops of what happened behind the scenes, how Kamala Harris became the historic first black woman to be president of the United States. It's not going to happen. As Trump said last night, Chuck Schumer has a better chance of becoming the first woman president of the United States, given how woke the Democrats are, than Kamala Harris. All right, before I get out of here, got to tell you, Old Glory Bank is literally my bank. I was at a Governor's Gun Club last night in Kennesaw, Georgia, and they're one of the businesses I've sent to governors to Old Glory Bank, and they were talking about how the bank has stepped up to help them. Because Old Glory Bank was started by conservatives for conservatives. Those debanking trends you're reading about. Melania Trump apparently had a bank cancel her bank account. That's not going to happen at Old Glory Bank. It was started by Larry Elder and Ben Carson and John Rich and other conservatives who understand what progressives are doing with banking in this country. So if you get an account with Old Glory Bank, it's by conservatives for conservatives. I've invested in the bank, full disclosure, because I got a checking account with them over a year ago, and I love it. Been so happy with them. You can too. OldGloryBank.com. OldGloryBank.com. I was a customer before I was an advertiser. I'm so glad they advertise with me. To my knowledge, I'm the only radio show host they advertise with. But I love that. They're great. If your kids need a checking account to put their cash in from lawn mowing and stuff, you can get a no-fee checking account for them. OldGloryBank.com. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender. Terms and conditions apply.
Want to be on the show?
Hello? I love your show.
Call Eric now at 877-973-7425.
1250 in the Coolaway Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Well, first over in Gwinnett County, got some debris over on 985 southbound. That ramp to Buford Drive, exit 4, State Route 20. It knocks out the left lane. That's why you're dealing with brake lights on 985. Moving over into Gwinnett County, I got a stalled tractor trailer. It just moved from the center lane off to the right. 85 northbound at Jimmy Carter Boulevard, exit 99. That's why you slow there. And then traffic trooper Jennifer says, watch out for a mattress. Travel advisory now. 85 northbound at Shallowford Road, exit 93 in the 2 center lanes. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
It's 3 o'clock. Want another Zoom call?
I know for a fact.
Or Eric Von Hessler.
This is what's going on.
Now you can start listening to the Von Hessler Doctrine at work.
Board eligible to become a certified pundit.
And continue on your drive home.
But not quite a certified pundit yet.
EVH, today.
Now starting at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman of Hoffman Financial Group and the host of Money Unleashed. Chris, with all the things we're reading and seeing and living through these days, from potential rate cuts to presidential elections, now seems like a great time to make sure we have that comprehensive plan in place, the one that covers all our financial bases.
There are occasions throughout the year where I feel like it's critical for people to engage their financial lives and get the information that they deserve from a financial advisory team. And this is one of those times, to be quite frank. So we ask that you call us if you have a minimum of $500,000 in your full portfolio. But we're going to do away with that minimum so that those folks can have an equal opportunity to understand what's in their portfolio as well. Now, you have to have some money, right? I can't help you to build your wealth at work, right? But I sure can help, I believe, with your 401k, IRA management. There's probably 2 or 3 things that'll surprise you that you may want to take action on. So the next 10 people that call in will work up either a portfolio x-ray, or if you feel like you need a full retirement plan, go to unleashyourmoney.com, click on portfolio x-ray, or click on full retirement plan. We think you'll be impressed enough, and we want you to become a client. There's no question about it. We believe that we are a very competent fiduciary advisory team, and we want to offer that to our listeners. Let Hoffman Financial Group actually show you how we perform, and I believe we perform at the pinnacle of this industry.
Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License Number 163546.
If you have COPD, here are some reasons to go see your pulmonologist again. 1, those flare-ups you keep having, they have the chance to cause permanent lung damage. 2, we now know a certain type of inflammation can cause flare-ups for some people. And 3,
when can I see Grandma?
Need more reasons? Visit www.livewithcopd.com.
Fall is here, and D. Geller & Son is celebrating with our Fall Bridal event. Come join us October 25th through 27th to see Atlanta's largest selection of engagement rings, wedding bands, and incredible fashion and wedding day jewelry. We have the top designers in the world bringing their entire collections, any style and any budget. Save up to $3,000 or take advantage of 0% APR financing for 3 years. D. Geller & Son's Fall Bridal event is October 25th through 27th in Atlanta, Kennesaw, and Sandy Springs. Save more when you RSVP online at dgeller.com.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
You can be live on Eric's show by calling 877-97-ERIC. That's 877-973-7425.
Welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here from the Governor's Mansion in Austin, Texas. It's a beautiful historic mansion. You know that. So during one of the G8 conferences, they had an anti-capitalism protest, and someone Molotov cocktailed the Governor's Mansion. It was empty. Governor Perry was the governor at the time, and it was empty, and they burned it down. Thankfully, all the historic items had been removed as they were renovating it. And they had to rebuild it. It was one of the reasons Governor Perry told me he wanted to run for re-election, because the hippies burned his house down, with some choice words in there. It's a beautiful historic home. I am probably in an ancient chair, and my behind, I'm like, please don't poot in the chair because this is history. But who knows? I may have my butt on a chair that Sam Houston himself sat in. You can never tell around here. It's a beautiful old house. I'm sure I can find a real Dr. Pepper somewhere around here as well. And I can go to a real Whataburger. No offense to the Whataburgers in Georgia. I love you people, but you're not a Whataburger from Texas, where for some reason the Dr. Pepper at a Whataburger in Texas is the elixir of the gods. God Almighty himself says to the angels, go to Texas and get me a Dr. Pepper from Whataburger because it's perfect. Now, start of the program brought to you by First Liberty Building and Loan. If you're buying a building, build a building. If you need a heavy equipment loan, reach out to my friends, the Frost family, at FirstLibertyGA.com. Tell them I sent you. For businesses, FirstLibertyGA.com. I'm waiting for the Democrats to wake up today and cancel Jim Gaffigan because he made a joke about Donald Trump being a threat to democracy, where he suggested that maybe the Democrats are, considering the coup they executed against Joe Biden. Listen to this.
The Democrats have been telling us Trump's re-election is a threat to democracy. In fact, they were so concerned of this threat, they staged a coup, ousted their democratically elected incumbent, and installed Kamala Harris. In other words, all her dreams have come true.
Yes. Yeah, not only that, after Kamala Harris's poor video performance went over, it really was a Gaffigan making jokes about how terrible the video was, and the response from the crowd was so anemic. He actually couldn't get people to generate applause about Kamala Harris, and joked that it was like him FaceTiming his kids from a piano concert. That's how bad it was. It was a terrible... She should have never even shown up at all. But had she done that, who knows what the Catholic... You know, you don't make the Catholics mad. You don't do that. I was very disappointed Trump did not make Catholic jokes from the stage. Because, they're obligated to laugh at the jokes as long as he avoids priest jokes. But he didn't make a Pope joke. Nothing. There are so many good Pope jokes out there, and he didn't do it. But he made a lot of jokes about Kamala Harris. And poor old Chuck Schumer looked absolutely miserable sitting right next to Donald Trump. When we come back, I've got lots of audio from Donald Trump last night at the Al Smith dinner in New York City. And then we need to talk about the Democrats more and more openly talking about how we need an underclass of serfs in this country. From black skin to brown skin, they just want cheap labor.
Scott Slade here. When we talk about our health, I think it's pretty important to talk about what's most likely to kill you. Heart disease is the #1 killer of Americans, and the older we get, the more prevalent it is. But you can reduce your risk. Eat right, don't smoke, exercise, and be informed about what's going on in your own body. like lots of potentially serious health problems. If you catch heart disease early, you vastly increase your chances of living a longer life. That's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging scans take less than 10 minutes and screen with 98% accuracy for heart disease. Other scans, including brain and full body, are available too. Virtual imaging is locally owned and operated in Atlanta for over 15 years, so they can make you this terrific offer. A complimentary heart scan for you and your spouse with a few minimum requirements. So don't put it off. Call Virtual Imaging today for your free heart scan. 678-369-0202. That's 678-369-0202. Or visit their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
News, weather,
Traffic. 95.5 WSB. Atlanta's News and Talk.
Good afternoon. It's 1 o'clock. I'm Veronica Waters. WSB's News this hour is brought to you by Hip Nation. Our top local story, a grieving family speaks out after the DeKalb County District Attorney decides not to charge the officer who killed their loved one at the VA hospital. Body cam showed John Robert Smith holding a knife to his own throat.
Mr. Smith, listen, not the way to do this. Put the knife down for me.
But the DA says the shooting was justified because Smith lunged at a nurse with that knife. Smith's mother, though, believes the DA made the wrong call.
What give a person the right to just literally take someone's life?
It is now 66 degrees in Midtown Atlanta. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards is looking for a sunny, cool day with highs topping out around the upper 60s today. Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast is coming up. A Gwinnett County man is back in jail again for groping women.
Gwinnett police are searching for any victims of a man who's accused of groping elderly women in public. This 78-year-old woman tells Channel 2 Action News the line that the 29-year-old Miles Couch used on her before he grabbed her butt.
It looks like it's a spider and it's on your bottom. He said, "Here, let me get it." And he reached and just was bold enough. He just touched me.
Authorities say they know there are more victims out there and they would like to interview them as well. Michelle Wright, 95.5 WSB.
Georgia Power is giving a break to customers in response to the devastation caused by Hurricane Helene. The utility is offering flexible installment payment plans to customers, allowing them to pay their current account balances over several months. Dramatic scenes of a regional jet with its tail knocked off by a jumbo jet at the Atlanta airport have Uncle Sam trying to keep planes apart before a collision turns deadly.
Technology has all but eliminated airborne planes from running into the ground and each other, but near misses and actual collisions on the ground at airports are still a problem.
One is one too many.
Flight Safety Foundation head Hassan Shahidi says despite well-trained pilots and air traffic controllers,
there is still a long way to go to provide that situational awareness to the air traffic controllers.
The FAA will visit the 45 busiest U.S. airports, including Hartsfield-Jackson International, looking at how to end ground incursions. Recommendations due out early next year. Steve Summers, 95.5 WSB.
It's now 102 live team coverage of traffic and weather next.
Dave Baker here for Air Quality Systems. If you haven't had your heating and air ducts cleaned in the last 5 years, you need Air Quality Systems. They'll come to your house and clean all that gunk out of your ductwork. That's all they do. They won't wash your siding. They won't clean your carpet. They'll just professionally clean your ducts to the same standards using the same process that they use to clean at UGA, at Children's Healthcare, and at other major hospitals in the metro area. You'll get upfront, all-in pricing over the phone, and your ducts will be cleaned. Simply go to airqualitysystems.com and breathe easy.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been diagnosed with mesothelioma, call us now. $30 billion was set aside for meso victims, and in most cases, your claim is settled out of court without a jury trial. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
The L-Certified Fall Collection Sales Event is here at Butler Lexus, South Atlanta. Hey guys, it's Shelley Winter. Enjoy the award-winning CPO program, an unlimited mileage warranty, and 2 years of complimentary maintenance. It's luxury that's nicer than pumpkin spice. The event ends November 4th.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Hey, it's Christina Edwards. Recently, I found a few cracks in the wall both inside and outside my home. I've always heard that may be a sign of damage to my home's foundation, so I called my friends at American Crawl Space Solutions. Turns out it was natural settling, and I didn't need to repair it. I was impressed by their service and approach of educating me without pressure and sales games. And that's why American Crawl Space Solutions is your best value in foundation repair.
American Crawl Space Solutions. Foundations too.
It's 105. Live team coverage of traffic and weather starts right now. First, let's check in with my friend Veronica Harrell, live in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
And good afternoon to you, Veronica, and happy Friday. Better news for my people over on I-85. The mattress has been removed from the roadway. 85 northbound at Shallowford Road, exit 93. Maybe a tap of the brakes there. Elsewhere, also stalled tractor trailer has cleared. 85 northbound over at Jimmy Carter Boulevard, exit 99. Still watching some brake lights, but you are still dealing with debris removal over on the 985 southbound ramp to State Route 20 exit 4. It knocks out a left lane, causing delays through Buford. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Mostly sunny today, high 68. Lows tonight in the mid-40s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high 72. Sunday, sunshine, morning low 47, afternoon high 75.
It's 62 degrees in Roswell right now, 65 in Jefferson, and 66 in Midtown Atlanta. More news at 1:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
My fellow Americans, it's Eric Erickson here from God's country, the governor's mansion in Austin, Texas, surrounded by commies and hippies in Austin who have all taken up hole here to avoid God's country that's right beyond the city limits of Austin. Here for the University of Georgia at University of Texas football game, although I can't stay for the game. I just assume, surely I can pull connections and get great tickets. Every single person in America apparently wanted to come to this game. And if I wanted to pay $20,000, I could find a ticket, but my wife would then bury me in the backyard. We also have family obligations this weekend. She was threatening to dig a hole and put me under Quikrete and roses. So I will go home and not see the game, but I'm here for the tailgate party. The governor of Texas apparently has impressive tailgate parties. And I will be here for one, and at some point I got to find a place that has Shinerbach on tap and sit down and have tacos and beer in Austin, Texas, because that's what you have to do when you come to Austin, Texas, according to my buddy Chip Roy. So, in any event, I'm here. We've had the governors of both states on. They were not able to trash talk each other, sadly, because one was here in person, the other by phone, but it's okay. Now, as promised, we have to talk about Donald Trump last night. Here's the problem. This is the ultimate problem for progressives. They don't have a sense of humor. They don't like Donald Trump. The Washington Post headline literally is, Trump delivers profane below-the-belt digs at Catholic charity banquet. He did say the S word, and he said it wasn't a joke. It was about Bill de Blasio, that he actually did a poop job as mayor of New York. That wasn't in the speech. That was just the truth. Everybody laughed. It was actually a funny moment. But the Democrats lack any sort of sense of humor, and so they couldn't find any humor in anything. The crowd, by the way, there were Democrats on stage who were muffling their laughter. Chuck Schumer looked miserable trying to hold in his laughs. He's like, I can't laugh at this joke about Doug Emhoff, this joke in particular.
A major issue in this race is child care, and Kamala has put forward a concept of a plan
A lot of people don't like it. The only piece of advice I would have for her in the event that she wins would be not to let her husband, Doug, anywhere near the nannies. Just keep him away. That's a nasty one.
That's a nasty one, he says at the end. I mean, Trump is making jokes about the jokes. I was sitting next to a guy on the plane last night. I was watching the speech. The guy was wearing a University of Oregon, or what is it? Is it Oregon State? Which ones are the Ducks? Is it Oregon, yeah. We're wearing a Ducks hoodie. I mean, listen, like totally like neutral man. You got everybody else on the plane other than him and me in like either UGA or Texas gear, and he's wearing his green sweatshirt, and he is watching MSNBC and keeps eyeing me like, why are you watching? Then he turned on Fox, so I don't know. I thought it was actually pretty hilarious, his lines. Whether you like the man or not, you should be able to laugh, and everybody there was willing to laugh.
Coming in very, very strong, a certain way. I won't tell you what way that is, but Chuck Schumer is here looking very glum. Doesn't he look glum? He looks glum. But look on the bright side, Chuck, considering how woke your party has become. If Kamala loses, you still have a chance to become the first woman president.
Oh, seriously, Chuck, considering how woke your party's become, if Kamala loses, you still have a chance to become the first woman president. Do you know what the Democrats took out of that last night? I'm not kidding. This was the commentary on CNN. Let me play you the key line here.
It looks glum.
Hang on. Here it comes.
But look on the bright side, Chuck, considering how woke your party has become. If Kamala loses, you still have a chance to become the first woman president.
He called her Kamala. That's what the Democrats on CNN hung their hat on. Why does he call her Kamala instead of Kamala? Why does he call her Kamala? Because he's a racist. He's a racist. You know why he calls her Kamala? Because he's a near 80-year-old man from Queens, New York, who talks like a man from Queens, New York. This is a man who was, until 2 months ago, running against an 80-year-old man who made jokes about needing to speak with an Indian accent in a 7-Eleven. And they wanted to give that man a pass, but not Donald Trump, who says Kamala, like a lot of people say Kamala, because when you look at her name, it's spelled Kamala. Mississippi. Kamala. It's spelled Kamala. Yeah, she pronounces it Kamala. There are a lot of people. You know, in South Georgia, I kid you not, cross my heart, hope to die, handle the Bible. Do you know there are people, and I used to think it was a racial thing because I primarily heard black people say it, but actually it's a non-racial thing. White people in South Georgia and black people in South Georgia, where my wife's family comes from, cannot, and I'm not making this up, I promise you this is true, they cannot say Erickson. They can't do it. It is physically impossible. In South Georgia, your host and this show is not Eric Erickson and the Eric Erickson Show. It is Erica Rickison and the Erica Rickison Show. They cannot do it. They cannot. They are incapable. My wife did not believe me until we got married, and the woman at the DMV kept calling for Christy Arickerson. Christy finally came up to her and said, "Aren't you Miss Arickerson?" And Christy said, "At that moment, I knew you were telling the truth." It's to scream racism because you have a name that is not John Smith, and Americans may not typically be familiar with it. Well, they must be a bunch of race. This explains why the Democrats are losing. They have no sense of humor, and they presume the worst in everyone. Not that this is an 80-year-old man from Queens, New York, who's never run against someone named Kamala before, but, oh, he must be racist and mispronouncing it on purpose. No, actually, what he was doing last night was making some very purposeful jokes, including Democrats were crazy for saying men have periods until he met Tim Walz. That was actually a line. You don't believe me?
I used to think that Democrats were crazy for saying that men have periods, but then I met Tim Walz.
Actually, he said that. He said that. He actually said, he also, by the way, said that neither Kamala or Tim Walz were They're there, but it's okay because Tim Walz would tell everyone that he was there. And then he poked fun at the mayor of New York, who apparently, I mean, Trump clearly has a good relationship with all these people in New York. He and Chuck Schumer, he was singing Chuck Schumer's praises, saying that might cost him Republican votes, but he was the first guy to write Chuck Schumer a check when he ran for Congress back in the day, even remembered his old campaign office and where it was, said nice things about Eric Adams. Here he is with the mayor.
As I look around the dais, I see all of the usual suspects. For instance, Mayor Adams. I'd like to poke some fun at Eric, but I'm going to be nice. I just want to be nice because I know what it's like to be persecuted by the DOJ for speaking out against open borders. We were persecuted, Eric. I was persecuted, and so are you, Eric. The mayor's dietary restrictions are well known, but I've got to say I've never met a person who's a vegan who liked turkey so much.
Yeah, okay, so Trump actually has to explain this joke to himself on stage. First of all, I didn't know Eric Adams was a vegan, but he apparently is a vegan. And so Trump says, I never met a person who's a vegan who liked turkey so much. And then literally stops and goes off script and says, did you know I didn't even know about this today because I've been on the campaign trail, but apparently his indictment is purported to be about turkey. He apparently likes turkey, but he's a vegan, and it's not turkey the meat, it's turkey the country. Just like goes off screen. He's reading this. He complained the entire night about there being no teleprompter except for Jim Gaffigan, and he's having to read the speech. But the winning line was this.
Tradition holds that I'm supposed to tell a few self-deprecating jokes this evening. So here it goes. Nope, I've got nothing. I've got nothing. There's nothing to say. I guess I just don't see the point of taking shots at myself when other people have been shooting at me for a hell of a long time and they shoot.
I mean, it's a good line. I'm supposed to tell self-deprecating jokes about myself, but I see no point in taking shots at myself when other people have been shooting at me. Even Jim Gaffigan fell out laughing. A professional comedian who hates Donald Trump found that line very funny. It's true. The best line of the night, however, was about white dudes for Harris.
There's a group called White Dudes for Harris. Have you seen this? White Dudes for Harris. Anybody know? Are some of you here? White Dudes for Harris? Doesn't sound like it. But I'm not worried about them at all because their wives and their wives' lovers are all voting for me.
Again, everyone there is laughing. Everyone there is having a good time. The only people who aren't laughing are the writers of the Washington Post and the Democrats who realize Kamala Harris is losing. One last one. This is Trump talking about happy to be back in New York.
It's a true pleasure to be with you this evening. Amazing pleasure. And these days it's really a pleasure anywhere in New York without a subpoena for my appearance.
Okay. I need to address this. I understand there are people listening right now who don't like Donald Trump. I'm not a fan of the man. You should see the hate mail I get from Trump supporters who are furious with me for being critical of him when they think that you've got to be on the team and utter no. I criticize everyone. I criticize myself. I criticize my kids. I criticize everybody, including Donald Trump. But you should be able to point to something like this and say, that was funny. He did a good job. Because he did. Only the really broken partisans can't do that. This reminds me of the woman who emailed me several weeks ago, whose name, I'm not making this up, her name really was Karen. And Karen emailed me because I was talking about you got to love your neighbors, whether you agree with them on politics or not. And Karen gave me this long list of people she could never be friends with: people who believe in genital mutilation, people who believe in supporting communists, people who believe in abortion, people who believe basically everything she doesn't like about the Democrats. I couldn't be friends with those people. Those people are not my neighbors; they're my enemy. Like, one, the Bible says pray for your enemy. Number two, if you're supposed to, if you believe Scripture, you have to be neighborly to those people. How are you ever going to persuade them that you're right and they're wrong if you're not willing to build a relationship with them. If you're not willing to be friends with the person who believes transgenderism is totally fine and boys can become girls, how are you ever going to be able to persuade that person that they're wrong and help them see the light? You're going to treat them as an enemy and you just want to beat them. You're not going to persuade them. You're not going to change their hearts. You're not going to change their minds. It's going to be a standoff that's not healthy for you or for them or for anybody else. And the fact that there are people, and they are partisans of the left, who can listen to Donald Trump's speech last night, say, that's not funny. That's not funny. That lady Karen who emailed me, who's a Trump supporter, is no different from them. And you don't want to be like that. You don't want to be like those people. You got to be able to laugh. Y'all, I laugh at the most absurd things. I laugh at things you're not supposed to laugh about. Friends of mine who are Jewish say I have Jewish humor because, you know, Jews laugh at everything. They laugh at tragedy. They make jokes about everything. I mean, they've got week-long holidays celebrating like tragic events in Jewish history, and they have fun and they enjoy it. You got to have a sense of humor, and the left has lost their sense of humor. And by the way, I don't think it's a coincidence that as the left has lost their sense of humor, they are losing this election. It turns out that the joy vibes that Kamala Harris was running on were Joy Reid vibes. And that's not a way to win an election. Now, I will leave it to you there as to where those vibes came from, and there's a battery joke in there somewhere, but I will go to commercial break instead.
He's got the courage to tell you the actual truth, even when it isn't popular. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
120 in the Cool Ray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Right now, just running into volume 75, 85 north and southbound. Do watch out for construction, though. Got a couple of lanes taken out each way. Peachtree Road over at Collier Road, causing delays through Buckhead. This report brought to you by True Natural Gas. They can report aliens have landed, but that wouldn't be true. Here's something that is true. True Natural Gas offers low rates and great customer service. Visit TrueNaturalGas.com. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
95.5 WSB wants to give you 4 tickets to the State Farm Champions Classic, November 12th at State Farm Arena. Catch some of the premier teams in college hoops square off right here in Atlanta. You'll get to see Kansas versus Michigan State and Kentucky versus Duke back-to-back, all in one night. Enter in the 95.5 WSB app or visit WSBRadio.com for a chance to win. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com.
Hey folks, it's Eric, and here we come into the election home stretch. Buckle up, buttercups. On the other side of November 5th, I can assure you there will be massive policy changes. The stock market will reward some sectors and punish others. So here's my question. Is your retirement plan ready? Is there a strategy? Do you even have a plan? Look, it isn't too late on this. David Nicholas and the team at Nicholas Wealth Management help Christy and me set a plan for whoever wins the election. They can help you too. I really urge you to do what we did. Get a complimentary Morningstar analysis from David and his team. This is a $1,000 value, but right now my listeners can get this complimentary. So if you have saved a $500,000 or more for retirement, call Nicholas Wealth Management. Get this unbelievably valuable analysis for free. David and his team will then review it with you, and it can give you more clarity on how ready your nest egg is for the uncertainty ahead. So if you've saved $500,000 or more for retirement, please go to nicholaswealth.com. That's NicholasWealth.com or call 678-990-8500. That's 678-990-8500, nicholaswealth.com.
Nicholas Wealth is an independent financial services firm that uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is prepared for information purposes only. It does not address specific investment objectives with a financial situation and the needs of any person. This is a paid advertisement.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, could be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. Go to carsforkids.org today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Here's an important message from Choice Men's Health.
I'm Dr. Katz, and I'm the Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Are you performing the way you want to in the bedroom? If the answer is no, and you've tried Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra and were disappointed, then you need to come see us immediately. If you don't see results on the first visit, then there's no charge. Many of our patients have medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and prostate problems. I'm happy to say that we have 98% success rate with all our patients. Our customized solutions will allow you to perform within 10 minutes and last an hour and even longer. You can regain your love life and tackle your ED and PE problems. Guys, your partner will never complain again. Our clinic has the most affordable prices, so if you visit other clinics and you're not completely satisfied, then you need to call Choice Men's Health.
Regain your love life regardless of your age or medical history. Choice Men's Health guarantees results on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call now, 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to health care. And that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 877-26-BIBLE. That's 877-26-BIBLE, 877-26-BIBLE.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Want to be on the show? Come on, be on the show. Call Eric now at 877-973-7425.
Welcome back. It's Eric Erickson here. Again, if you want to use your voice memo app, and you can email your voice memos to contact@ewerickson.com. Philip will vet them, send them to me so I can play them. You can ask me questions about anything today. It says I don't have a call screener. I got two longtime friends with me here in this front parlor, Kevin and Brad, and they work with Governor Abbott. They set this up. It was their genius idea. They come up with genius ideas on occasion. I do, however, have to announce, this is sad of me. He's worked with Governor Abbott for a long time. I got to fire my friend Kevin because he brought me a diet Dr. Pepper instead of a real Dr. Pepper and lost his job. Now, for you, too, I got to tell you, I fire Philip and Charlie all the time. My wife won't let me officially fire them, so I feel like I'm firing them, and then she hires them back, so I guess Kevin might get his job back. I actually drink Diet Dr. Pepper. But, y'all, we were discussing this before break, and I will just say that for some reason, it's like, you know how you drink a lot of coffee, then you have water, and then you just, like, you go to the bathroom the rest of the day. Diet Dr. Pepper, I like Diet Dr. Pepper. I just can't drink I'm going to drink a Diet Dr. Pepper, and then they're going to have to show me where the restroom is. Is it really that age? There was a big Wall Street Journal story yesterday on why the joke really is true that after you hit 40, everything goes downhill. And it's true. It really is true. You hit 40 and things begin to go downhill. You feel parts of your body you did not know that even existed, and the only reason you know they exist is because they hurt. And I'm still doing CrossFit, and I wake up the day after. Like, I had to do this awful exercise the other day. So it was like where you get in the push-up position, you got to touch your shoulders, and you got to do it for a minute. It's like the plank for a minute while going back and forth touching your shoulders. Y'all, I think I've got someone else's shoulders in addition to my shoulders, and because I got stuff that like hurts in a different dimension, and it's not supposed to be that way, and yet it is. I'm just declining. I'm not even 50, and I'm declining. Shut up, Philip. I will fire you again. Okay, nonetheless, my 34-year-old is making age. By the way, I got to say, my son has become a fan of the Tampa Bay Lightning along with Philip. And I made the mistake of starting a group chat with him last night during their game with the Golden Knights, which is my team. My son has been trash-talking me since last night. I suddenly believe in really late-term abortion. He's 15. All right. We'll have to move on. I got to tell you about Hillsdale College before I go to break. Hillsdale is where you should probably be sending your kids because they get great educations from Dr. Larry Arnn and others, except for my buddy Raz. Everybody else who goes to Hillsdale turns out a genius. And if you don't want to go to Hillsdale, you can go to ericforhillsdale.com and get Imprimis for free. You can get their podcast network for free. You can get Larry Arnn's lectures on the Constitution for free. Victor Davis Hanson's lectures on citizenship. All of it. Don't forget the podcasts. You get it all from Hillsdale College at ericforhillsdale.com. Sign up for Hillsdale College today. It is show prep for your mind. It's an education, not indoctrination. It's based on the real history of the United States. Larry Arnn is a genius at what he does. Their mission since the 1800s has been to spread education by any means possible, including for free, to all corners of the American continent, and they've been doing it. They are committed to you, to real education. Go to Eric, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com today. Just subscribe to Imprimis. It's free, and it's great, and it comes to your mailbox.
When you need to know.
This story is developing in Atlanta.
When you want to know.
Severe weather is on its way.
When you have to know.
We'll alert you as soon as this closure clears.
Get notifications
from your source for news.
Get the WSB radio app.
Download it from your app store today. Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios. News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's 1:30. I'm Veronica Waters. WSB's top local story is breaking this half hour. Early voting is really continuing in full force in the Peach State. The Secretary of State's office says Georgia passed the 1 million voter mark today, and we haven't even been voting fully for 1 week yet. Gabriel Sterling with the Secretary of State's office says it happened a little before noon today. Of course, you know Georgia is a battleground state in a tight presidential race. A beautiful weekend for travel, but expect some closures this weekend if you're heading to the airport.
On Saturday, construction will get underway at the South Terminal, upper lanes, and ground transportation near Delta Airlines. Frank Rucker, Senior Deputy General Manager of the project.
So during the next week, we requested our customers and more time for the journey because there will be some temporary delays or use alternative transportation methods.
Crews are building the South Parking Deck pedestrian bridge as part of the $450 million project. Daphne Young, 95.5 WSB.
Well, we have learned no charges are filed by the DeKalb County District Attorney after an investigation of a deadly officer-involved shooting at the Atlanta VA Medical Center earlier this year. Today, we are hearing from the family of Robert John Smith. John Robert Smith was holding a knife to his neck at the time when they say that he lunged at a medical staffer with that knife, and that was what made the shooting justified. However, his family says they will continue to seek justice for him. Amos Smith is a retired lieutenant colonel from the Army and is a spokesman with Veterans for Justice.
I go forward. I'm not going back. I'm not looking back. My family and I, we're going forward.
That is Ani Smith, John Roberts Smith's mother. Amos King says they disagree with the decision as well. And now we are looking at start of a Bulldogs football weekend on WSB. Number 1 Texas and number 5 Georgia are meeting in Austin tomorrow in one of the most anticipated games of the college football season. Live team coverage of traffic and weather next.
Scott Slade here. You know, when we talk about our health, I think it's pretty important to talk about what's most likely to kill you. Heart disease is the number 1 killer of Americans, and the older we get, the more prevalent it is. But you can reduce your risk. Eat right, don't smoke, exercise, and be informed about what's going on in your own body. Like lots of potentially serious health problems, if you catch heart disease early, you vastly increase your chances of living a longer life. That's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging scans take less than 10 minutes and screen with 98% accuracy for heart disease. Other scans, including brain and full body, are available too. Virtual imaging is locally owned and operated in Atlanta for over 15 years, so they can make you this terrific offer. A complimentary heart scan for you and your spouse with a few minimum requirements. So don't put it off. Call Virtual Imaging today for your free heart scan. 678-369-0202. That's 678-369-0202. Or visit their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
Cooler weather, shorter days, busy schedules, all great reasons to treat your family to a Bullfrog hot tub from Brown's Pools and Spas. The perfect place to relax and unwind. Only Bullfrog offers the Jetpack Therapy system. Each seat is customized to fit every body in your family. Now through October 20th, shop the Peaceful Life hot tub sale with instant rebates up to $2,000 or 0% financing. Brown's Pools and Spas, celebrating 50 years of BrownsPools.com.
Retirement doesn't have to be complicated. Are you sick of all the fancy charts and investment mumbo-jumbo thrown at you to justify the Wall Street fees you're being charged? It's not the size of your nest egg that matters, but rather the income it can produce. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, best-selling author and star in a brand new Hollywood documentary called The Retirement Deception. In this film, we traveled over 20,000 miles interviewing real Americans who have retired successfully with a great lifestyle and peace of mind. They share their stories on how they get more retirement income with the same dollar saved, and the money is never at risk if the market crashes. That's right. If the market crashes 30%, you lose nothing. Even the super wealthy are shifting money into this new strategy because it increases their retirement income or can allow them to stop working years sooner. So if you are over 50 and want a bigger, better, stress-free retirement, call to talk to a specialist and get a free copy of this brand new movie, The Retirement Deception. 888-471-3896. This is a $30 value, but when you call today, you get it completely free. So don't delay. Call 888-471-3896. Again, that's 888-471-3896.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather starting right now at 1:35. Veronica Harrell is watching the early afternoon drive in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
And it's a slow one right now, Veronica. It's all because of you're dealing with a crash over on the 285 westbound, that inner loop right around Riverdale Road, exit 60, and is currently taking out multiple left lanes, causing delays for you trying to get through the airport. And then also downtown Rogers, volume 75, 85 north and south. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Mostly sunny today, high 68. Clear and cool for tonight, lows in the mid-40s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high 72. On Sunday, abundant sunshine, morning low 47, afternoon high 75.
It's 65 degrees right now in Peachtree Corners, 65 in Powder Springs, and 67 in Midtown Atlanta. More news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, because the truth is what matters. You're listening to The Erick Erickson Show.
Greetings, friends. Welcome. It is Erick Erickson here. Don't call, because my call screener is killing hogs in Florida today, if they can get down there with all the trees still. By the way, did you know, true story, as of today, 100% of the people in the state of Florida have power back from Milton. 100%. 11% of people in the state of California today do not have power. Not that there's been a natural disaster. There's just Gavin Newsom in California. It's remarkable. 10% of the state is without power today for reasons unknown, while everyone in Florida, in Florida they've put so much of their infrastructure now underground, and it's a big thing. Now, I want to actually spend a moment here and spend just a little bit more on this humorlessness that's going on here. It's Friday. We can make a big meta topic here instead of dealing with raw politics, because it's a thing coming up. So for example, as I mentioned, when Kamala Harris started her campaign, it was about vibes, and it was a vibes election. So Trump's running on the economy, and Kamala Harris is running on vibes. You honestly, objectively, you can't blame a girl for trying, because she didn't have anything. She can't run on the economy. People blame them. She can't run on immigration and the border because people blame them. She can't run on foreign affairs because look at the world. So she's got to run on Trump's just a mean, nasty person, and I'm a happy-go-lucky girl. Pay no attention to what my husband's done to girls. And it didn't work. And it shifted. We are, for all intents and purposes, we're 2 weeks from the election. Why? Because every bit of mail and major TV and radio advertisement needs to be designed and finished by today to get on the air on Monday. And then all they can do for the next 2 weeks is get out the vote. And you can see Trump's going to do a lot in Pennsylvania. He's going to do a couple events in Georgia next week. They're going to Arizona some. Harris is actually doing less events than Trump. You've now got Tammy Baldwin in Wisconsin doing her ad that features Donald Trump, and you've got Bob Casey in Pennsylvania doing ads. And what's happening? They've gotten angry. They're lecturing people. And this is part of the problem. And I actually do think, I credit, and I can't remember who did it. It was a tweet. And I'm crediting that tweet for reshaping my thinking about what's going on, because I think it's absolutely right. The base of the Republican Party right now has some absolutely willfully stupid people. And I know that's going to offend some of you. But when you have a member of Congress arguing that the government is steering hurricanes, and there are people who believe her and defend her, we are surrounded by willfully stupid people. C.S. Lewis in The Abolition of Man, he writes about seeing through a window. When you see through a window, your eyes stop at the garden. You can't see past the garden, but you see the beauty of the garden. We have a bunch of people on the right now who are doing some of what the left is doing, the just asking questions crowd, the Candace Owenses and Tucker Carlson's world, just asking questions. What they're doing is they see through everything. But when you see through everything, you actually see nothing. You can't see anything if you see through everything. You can't see the beauty. You can't see the joy. You can't see reality. You conjure a fake reality. And you hang your hat on nothing, and you're empty. You're an empty vessel. When you see through everything, you don't see anything. We was talking about that last night at this event for The Stuff Matters, that, so in the Garden of Eden, just to get a little philosophical with you, in the Garden of Eden, when the devil asked Eve, did God really say that about the trees? What he's actually doing there, that word really, it's in Hebrew, it's a deep level of irony in the word. Essentially saying, did God really say that? Of course they didn't really say that. There's a level of irony, a level of sarcasm, what he's saying. And what do you see for some of these people on the right these days? You see that level of irony, that level of sarcasm about everything. Do you really believe that this hurricane was an accident? Do you really believe it was an accident? See, what they're trying to do is they're using sarcasm as a slight, and that slight has power. There's no power behind it, but the word itself has power, and they're calling for you to question everything. And when you question everything, you can stand for nothing. And a lot of people on the right have just gotten dumb. But what's happened to the same people on the left? Frankly, they've gotten mentally ill. They've become governed by their anxieties and their neuroses. They see through everything too. And they see a whole new world where boys can become girls and girls can become boys, and it's their anxieties and neuroses about you not embracing this stuff that guides them, that shapes them, that governs them, that compels them, that pushes them forward. And what happens when you get to that point where you now demand, as I said yesterday, that people utter the lie as truth, that boys can become girls, that when you see the boy and the boy wants you to use she pronouns, it's narcissism. It is a mentally unhealthy state of narcissism, and they're trying to exert power over you by forcing you to use a pronoun that you know isn't true, because they want to dominate you, they want to control you. And the moment you are willing to utter the lie, they know they have you. But also, it gets rid of their humor, and they can't laugh. They can't take a joke, and they can't make a joke. The only people you can make jokes about these days are white guys, because they are supposedly the powerful. In the intersectional cult, the white heterosexual Christian male who's married and has a college degree is the most powerful man on planet Earth, and you can make jokes about that. And what do they say? If you make a joke about anybody else, what do they tell you? You're punching down. What does that even mean, you're punching down? I mean, I want to make jokes about the blind transgender Muslim who is deeply conflicted about their... I think that's a deeply funny joke. There's clearly a joke in there. How does this person even know if they're a boy or girl? They can't see in the mirror, and they're Muslim too. Clearly, there's a joke there somewhere. You should be able to laugh. Oh, you can't make a joke about that. That's not funny. That's not funny. That's what everybody on the left says these days. You can't make a joke. And this is spilling out now into the Kamala Harris campaign. And it's how I know they know they're losing. Because there's no Joy left except Joy Reid, and she's lecturing black men about voting for Nazis. When the Democrats, listen, the Democrats are always lecturers. Have you seen college professors? College professors are always lecturing scolds, but most Democratic strategists, Bill Clinton, for example, he all shucks it out there as much as he can. And even Bill Clinton is out there now essentially saying, yeah, I know that Lincoln Riley situation, and we've done better vetting at the border. You can't say that, Bill Clinton, because guess who vetted the border? The border czar. Who's that? Kamala, however you want to pronounce her name. You got Barack Obama out there lecturing black men about voting for a woman. The brothers don't want a black woman. The brothers think they're going to be bossed around. Yeah, by the way, you know that's a thing, don't you? Listen, I acknowledge I'm so white when I put on white socks, they disappear. And I realize I am disqualified from talking about the black community because I am so white, they call me reflective. But it's true. I have enough black friends who hang out with me who make jokes about Kamala Harris. This woman put a lot of black men in prison, and now she wants their votes. The men she put in prison for weed, she's going to give it to them for free after she gets them out of prison. Really? Her? Really? The same sarcasm from the Guardian. Really? That's what she's going to do? No, of course she's not going to do that. They don't like her. She doesn't have the lived experience that they've had. And so what's happening now? The progressives are scolding everyone. How dare you vote for a threat to democracy? I saw a guy last night on Twitter. He was responding to a friend of mine. The friend of mine said, listen, I totally get people who just can't vote for Donald Trump. I can't either. I'm not going to vote for him. This is her, not me. Don't send me hate mail, people. She says, I'm not going to vote for him either. I totally get it. What I can't fathom is just because you can't vote for Donald Trump, you're going to vote for Kamala Harris, whose views and policies are anathema to everything you stand for. And this person, I'll leave him out of it, but he replies, any vote for Kamala Harris is a vote to stop Donald Trump, and that means it's heroic. It's heroism to go vote for Kamala Harris. Really? That's your closing argument? You're a hero for voting for a woman who has wrecked the economy and driven up illegal immigration. There's no joy. There's no laughter. It's bullying, and people don't like bullies, and that's where the Democrats lost the plot of this election. They thought if they get their dementia patient out of the race and they replace him with Kamala Harris, that people would be overwrought, overjoyed, and overcome with the need to make history again like they did with Barack Obama, and that all the white people who voted for Barack Obama to prove they weren't racist would come back to prove yet again they weren't racist, and oh my God, they're voting for Donald Trump, they must really be racist. No, they voted for Barack Obama. It's just you broke the economy. You wrecked the economy. You made their lives more miserable, and now you can't even say I'm sorry, and you scold them, and you lecture them, and you're bitter, and you can't laugh, and you can't have fun, and you hear a funny joke, you're like, that punched down. The voters are going to punch you at the ballot box. They're going to punch Donald Trump's name on that screen because of it. You've taken humor out of society. You want to cancel comedians for being funny. You can't make a joke about anything anymore. Where is the joy? Where's the humor? It's left on the cutting room floor of the mental illness, of the anxiety and the neuroses of the Democratic Party that governs them, that drives their agenda. The affluent female white urban liberals, the awfuls, who decide that they have to impose their values on the rest of us because the only way they can have their joy, the only way they can have their eternity is if they impose their will on everyone else. And no one wants that. I try not to use the word Karen because I have a lot of friends who are Karen, but yet the party of Karens, you know what I mean when I say it. They want to impose their will on you, and they're going to scowl at you. They're not going to smile at you when they do it. And people are voting for that. Kamala Harris, when she started the campaign, it actually wasn't a bad strategy. Even as those of us on the right were willing to say it's stupid, it wasn't a bad strategy. You can't run on the economy. You can't run on crime. You can't run on inflation. You can't run on immigration. Run on vibes. Run on hopey-feely. This is hope and change all over again. Hope and change 2.0. Except it's not. Because she is the Harris in the Biden-Harris administration. And for several weeks there, it looked like it had thrown Trump off his game, and he was the angry one. She was joy, and he was bitter. She was happy, and he was scowling. And then what did he do? He found his footing, and he started talking about the economy and crime, tying crime to immigration and inflation, and he stayed on message. They got the Laura Loomers and the Steve Bannons and the Roger Stones out of his headspace. and they put him around people who got him focused on the economy, and they got him focused on inflation, they got him focused on crime, and guess what? He started going up in the polls. And all the trends since have been in his direction. And what happened? You can't run an election on hope and joy and hope and change when, first of all, you're not a change, and secondly, your hope goes down because the polling's gone down, and you have no sense of humor to be able to replace it. If you can't laugh when the joy goes away, you can never recover the joy. And all they've got now is poor old Joy Reid on MSNBC lecturing black men, how dare you vote for the Nazis. Remember, in 2020, when the trend lines became that younger black men might be headed towards Donald Trump, the New York Times, not an opinion piece, but an actual reported piece of the New York Times explained it this way. Young black men have embraced the toxic masculinity of rap music, and it is now shaping their politics. That's how the New York Times explained it. Not in an opinion piece, not in an analysis piece, in an actual reported piece. When you think that way about your fellow Americans and impute the worst to them, and you can't smile and laugh with them, of course they're going to reject you. There's only one campaign out there that looks like it's having a good time, and that's a sign that it's winning, and it happens to be Donald Trump's, who was willing to stand on stage and tell jokes for 30 minutes last night that got everyone in the room, including Chuck Schumer, laughing at him, including Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, having a good time laughing, including Jim Gaffigan, a comedian who hates Donald Trump, laughing at his jokes, having a good time. And the scolds of the Washington Post, the New York Times, and the Harris campaign, what are they? They're offended. They're upset. It wasn't funny. Actually, it was funny, and that you're not laughing is why you're losing. Because when you're not funny and the economy sucks, so does your campaign. Now, let me tell you about Americans for Prosperity before I get out of here. AFP would love to have you on their team. They have chapters in virtually every state of the nation. They're the largest leading grassroots organization. They happen to be on our side. If you go to americansforprosperity.org/volunteer, you can sign up with them today. Americans for Prosperity will give you all the information you need to persuade your friends and neighbors on common sense conservative solutions. They'll even teach you how to be a door knocker and go next door and talk to your friend who's got the Harris sign in their yard, and they'll give you the facts and figures to convince them to tear up the sign, put a Trump sign in their yard, except they don't really do explicit politics. They just do public policy. So maybe your friend is one of those bitter progressives who hate school choice. Americans for Prosperity will give you the facts and figures to make the persuasive case. It's the way to go. School choice, family-friendly policies, helping small businesses is what they do. Sign up with them today. americansforprosperity.org/volunteer. americansforprosperity.org/volunteer. Tell them I sent you. Become a great conservative activist.
When the world seems crazy, he'll keep you sane. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
151 in the Coolray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Better news out by the airport, and just like that, that travel advisory crash has now cleared off to the left. 285 westbound the inner loop at Riverdale Road, exit 60. However, delays still stretch back to 75. This report brought to you by Georgia Aquarium all month long. Explore the haunted seas, taking the spooky sights, and trick or treat every weekend. Experience even more chills, thrills, and gills than ever before, all at Georgia Aquarium. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
Campaign 2024.
We are going to win the whole ball game.
You're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against
The race is close.
And we are up in the polls.
The candidates couldn't be farther apart.
Talk about extreme.
With Election Day fast approaching,
He is unwilling to meet for a second debate.
whatever happens in this election
matters to you.
And that's why it matters to us.
We're a declining nation right now.
Tune in throughout the day to stay up to date.
The whole world is laughing at
95.5 WSB.
Your 2024 election station.
Hey folks, it's Eric, and here we come into the election homestretch. Buckle up, buttercups. On the other side of November 5th, I can assure you there will be massive policy changes. The stock market will reward some sectors and punish others. So here's my question. Is your retirement plan ready? Is there a strategy? Do you even have a plan? Look, it isn't too late on this. David Nicholas and the team at Nicholas Wealth Management help Christy and me set a plan for whoever wins the election. They can help you too. I really urge you to do what we did. get a complimentary Morningstar analysis from David and his team. This is a $1,000 value, but right now my listeners can get this complimentary. So if you have saved a $500,000 or more for retirement, call Nicholas Wealth Management. Get this unbelievably valuable analysis for free. David and his team will then review it with you, and it can give you more clarity on how ready your nest egg is for the uncertainty ahead. So if you've saved $500,000 or more for retirement, please go to nicholaswealth.com. That's NICHOLASWEALTH.com, or call 678-990-8500. That's 678-990-8500, nicholaswealth.com.
Nicholas Wealth is an independent financial services firm that uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is prepared for information purposes only. It does not address specific investment objectives with a financial situation and the needs of any person. This is a paid advertisement.
Did you know that even a 0.5% difference on your auto loan rate could equal thousands of dollars in savings? Get pre-approved on your next auto loan or refinance your current auto loan at Coosa Valley Credit Union today. You'll get one of the lowest rates in the market, as low as 4.99%. This is Andy Harris. Come see us at a Coosa Valley Credit Union branch near you. We're local and nearby in Northwest Georgia. Plus, you'll always speak to a real person when dealing with us.
Equal Opportunity Lender.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
The Federal Reserve finally did it. For the first time in over 4 years, they dropped interest rates. This is Scott Slade. Well, now's the time to call Myland. Get your application underway and see how you can take advantage of the Fed's latest move. Myland has several loan programs to help you access the equity in your home. And many of Myland's clients are using their equity to consolidate debts or make home improvements. Whether it's a kitchen or a basement remodel, Myland can show you the best way to use your equity to your advantage. When you involve something as important as your home, you want the best local company to work with. That's why I choose Myland. Myland's helped thousands of Atlanta homeowners just like you save the most amount of money with their mortgage. In fact, their average customer saves over $700 a month. Call Myland, 770-817-2000, 770-817-2000, or online at myland.com, spelled it M-I-L-E-N-D. NMLS and Georgia Mortgage Licensee 148769, located at 8995 Westside Parkway, Alpharetta, Georgia 30009. Myland is an equal housing lender.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
The podcast, live stream, email, and social media links by texting Eric to 33777. Now.
So I sent out my email yesterday, and I'm sorry, this is hyper local for all of you, but you know, my flagship station is Georgia. I'm on like 20 some odd radio stations in the state of Georgia, and there are 3 issues on the ballot in Georgia. And I sent out an email yesterday, and apparently it's only just gone through because I'm starting to get replies from people. But the short answer for those of you listening in Georgia, you're going to have 3 questions at the end of your ballot: a constitutional amendment, and then a referendum, and then a question. Vote yes on all of them. Vote yes on all of them. Particularly the constitutional amendment, vote yes. Long story short, there is a trend at the state level, and it's not just Georgia. Actually, a number of states are doing this because of the extreme inflation of the Biden-Harris administration. There are a number of states that have changed their laws so that your house value for tax assessment cannot increase due to outrageous inflation, that it has to be restricted in the rate your home value can go up for purposes of taxes, so that just because inflation's gone up 20-30%, your home value can't go up 20-30% because your tax values are going to go through the roof. A lot of states can and have changed this through legislative action. I think Oklahoma is one of those states that have done this. I know Iowa has restricted it by the state legislature so that people, local governments can't prey upon their homeowners and jack up taxes so much. Every state is different. Every state has its own constitution. Remember, our nation, our states are actually semi-sovereign entities. They've only ceded limited powers to Washington, D.C., and they have all the other powers. And each state has its own constitution. My state is Georgia, and in Georgia, our state legislature doesn't have the power to restrict home value increases. So they've had to amend the state constitution, and it was a bipartisan piece of legislation. The Democrats and the Republicans in the legislature agreed to this. Some states, it can be done legislatively. Some states can actually be done through executive action. But in my state of Georgia, it couldn't be done except by changing the Constitution. It's on the ballot in November, so I'm voting yes because I don't want my local government to jack up my home value just because the Biden-Harris administration's inflation got away from us. The other two, one sets up like a special tax court, and the other one is just a question on taxes. So I voted yes on all of them. You may still be getting the email. I'm just seeing the email go through that I sent people yesterday. But anyway, that's what it is. Don't mean to waste everybody's time with it. When we come back, I've got to shift gears internationally because the North Koreans appear to be about to invade Ukraine. People thought Volodymyr Zelensky was making it up. He mentioned it last week. We've known the North Koreans were giving the Russians technology. But now American and European and Australian intelligence has said several divisions of North Koreans are mounting on the eastern or western border of Russia, the eastern border of Ukraine. I want to give you the details on that and also the latest of how they found Sinwar in Rafah and killed him.
Dave Baker here for Air Quality Systems. If you haven't had your heating and air ducts cleaned in the last 5 years, you need Air Quality Systems. They'll come to your house and clean all that gunk out of your ductwork. That's all they do. They won't wash your siding. They won't clean your carpet. They'll just professionally clean your ducts to the same standards using the same process that they use to clean at UGA, at Children's Healthcare, and at other major hospitals in the metro area. You'll get upfront, all-in pricing over the phone, and your ducts will be clean. Simply go to airqualitysystems.com and breathe easy.
For heaven's sakes, y'all, don't cook this Thanksgiving. This is Tom Murphy, and for over 40 years, Murphy's Restaurant in the Virginia Highlands has offered exquisite, complete takeaway meals, including roast turkey breasts and all the fixings, including your choice of a whole pie. You can even add wine to the order. Just pick up, heat, and eat. Let our talented chefs handle everything. Just go to murphysatlanta.com. That's murphysatlanta.com. Order today, murphysatlanta.com.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's 2 o'clock. I'm Veronica Waters. WSB's top local story. There is outrage today after no charges are filed against a police officer who shot a veteran inside the Atlanta VA back in January.
DeKalb County DA Sherry Boston says the officer was justified in shooting 58-year-old John Robert Smith, who was wielding a knife at the time of the incident. Family spokesman Amos King.
We just want to set the record straight. We're not finished with it. We want to go forward, and we want the community to know this was not done right by the DA office.
Smith's mother, Ani, says the death of her son shows problems with the VA.
There should be some type of protocol in place when things happen.
Family says they are considering their legal options. In Decatur, Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
It's 67 degrees now in Midtown Atlanta. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards expect highs to top out around the upper 60s today. It's going to be dry and cool. Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast is coming up. That record-breaking flow of early voters in Georgia notches yet another mark. The Secretary of State's office tweeting that just before noon, 1 million Georgians cast ballots in this hot election this week. Vice President Harris rallies Saturday in Atlanta, then appears on the stop with former President Obama late next week. Former President Trump has a rally in Duluth come Wednesday. Georgia Senator Raphael Warnock is urging the White House to help speed up efforts to get federal funds to states dealing with the aftermath of Hurricanes Helene and Milton. Warnock and a bipartisan group of senators are asking for a detailed appropriations list to help address disaster-related costs, including the ongoing IV fluids supply challenges caused by Helene. He's calling on Congress, too, to return to D.C. soon so they can approve some legislation. Gwinnett police arrest 2 suspects in the overdose and death of a young girl.
These 2 suspects will be charged for a young teen's overdose death under a relatively new law that carries a mandatory minimum of 10 years behind bars.
It's called Austin's Law. And so it basically holds these criminals accountable for knowingly selling drugs that they know are going to cause harm to someone and possibly make them overdose.
Gwinnett Police Corporal Juan Matiedo says one of the suspects is a 16-year-old girl. The other is 17, identified as Dino Bonacera. Lisa Nicholas, 95.5 WSB.
Georgia Bulldogs will be without their beloved mascot on the road in Texas this weekend. The owner of UGA 11 says the trip is just too far for the young Bulldog. Boom has never been on a plane or a train before. Right now, it's 2:02. Live team coverage of traffic and weather next.
Scott Slade here. You know, when we talk about our health, I think it's pretty important to talk about what's most likely to kill you. Heart disease is the number one killer of Americans, and the older we get, the more prevalent it is. But you can reduce your risk. Eat right, don't smoke, exercise, and be informed about what's going on in your own body. Like lots of potentially serious health problems, if you catch heart disease early, you vastly increase your chances of living a longer life. That's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging scans take less than 10 minutes and screen with 98% accuracy for heart disease. Other scans, including brain and full body, are available too. Virtual Imaging is locally owned and operated in Atlanta for over 15 years, so they can make you this terrific offer. A complimentary heart scan for you and your spouse with a few minimum requirements. So don't put it off. Call Virtual Imaging today for your free heart scan. 678-369-0202. That's 678-369-0202. Or visit their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
We weren't planning on selling our home, but our family's needs changed. I'm Caitlin, and selling our home with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate was the best decision we made for our family. With over 11,000 five-star reviews, I had peace of mind knowing I could trust Mark Spain Real Estate to sell our home fast and for more than we were asking. If you're preparing to move, check out Mark Spain Real Estate's guaranteed offer. Go to markspain.com and see what their guaranteed offer would be on your home. There's no obligation. That's markspain.com and start packing.
Looking for a simple, fun, and fast way to win money on sports this season? Underdog Fantasy is the app for you. Hey, it's Jerry Yamamoto from the Von Hessler Doctrine, and if you know me, I love sports, especially football. And along with watching all the games, me and my buddies are always trying to find ways to trash talk and have fun. With Underdog Fantasy, problem solved. All you do is choose higher or lower on your favorite player's stats to win 1,000 times your pick'em entry. I look forward to having all the bragging rights in my group texts. Making picks on Underdog Fantasy is straightforward, and signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use app or use UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with my promo code MOTO, M-O-T-O, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. Must be 18 years or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
2:05 live team coverage of traffic and weather begins right now. First, Veronica Harrell is watching that commute in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
And right now, dealing with a travel advisory is all because of a crash. 575 southbound below Highway 92, exit 7. It knocks out the left lane, so do yourself a favor and use Highway 5 out of Woodstock. Elsewhere, a crash clearing over on Georgia 400 northbound just before McFarland Parkway, exit 12, still causing brake lights between Alpharetta and the Cumming area. And then over on the west side of town, inner loop, traffic trooper Doug says watch for a stalled motorist 285 northbound at MLK Junior Drive, exit 9 in the right lane. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Epwards. Mostly sunny today, high 68, lows tonight in the mid-40s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high 72. Sunday, sunshine, morning low 47, afternoon high 75.
It's 64 degrees now in Kennesaw, 66 in Covington, 67 degrees in Midtown Atlanta at 2:06. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is your host, Eric Erickson, on an open line Friday without phone numbers. If you want to email, contact at ewerickson.com, send your voice memo. We might play it. I am sitting in the front parlor. What do they call this? The library, this room? The library of the Texas Governor's Mansion. Governor Abbott and his team invited me to come over, go to the tailgate tonight for the University of Texas, University of Georgia football game that's tomorrow. So I'm hanging out here in Austin with some longtime friends. We've got a band practicing in the background. If you may hear some bass bleed through the microphone, but maybe not. I've got my great setup here. I really need to switch to foreign policy and talk about this for a minute because we've got some news from the BBC. North Korea has started sending troops to fight with Russia in Ukraine, South Korea's spy agency has said, as Seoul warned of a grave security threat. The allegation comes a day after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said he believed 10,000 North Korean soldiers could join the war based on intelligence information. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol called for a security meeting on Friday and said the international community must respond with all available means. According to the spy agency, 1,500 troops had already arrived in Russia, with anonymous sources telling South Korean media the final figure could be closer to 12,000. This comes as evidence mounts the North Koreans are supplying Russia with ammunition, as recently demonstrated by the recovery of a missile in Ukraine's Poltava region. Moscow and Pyongyang have all been deepening their cooperation in recent months. Last week, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un greeted Russian President Vladimir Putin on his birthday, calling him his closest comrade. Listen, I understand there are many Americans who say this isn't our fight. But the North Koreans, the Russians, the Chinese, and the Iranians collaborating together, you don't have to call it an axis of evil, but it is an Eastern axis that wants to assert its domination on the world stage. North Koreans entering Ukraine would be a serious escalation of this war, and it should necessitate a Western response. And here is why it should. Say what you will about the Chinese military. Say what you will about the North Korean military. They don't have something the American military has. Battle-hardened field experience. The Chinese military have not been fighting wars, nor have the North Korean military been fighting wars. They've been in a state of war with South Korea, but they haven't actually fought. There is a big difference between a live-fire training exercise and an actual war where you're going to potentially die. And it changes your thinking and alters your courage and alters your decisions. Getting the North Koreans military experience in Ukraine that they take back to North Korea to face South Koreans is a dangerous escalation. And it is ultimately going to draw the United States into a conflict. You cannot be isolationist in World War. You can try it, but you can't be. And it is better to help stamp it out now than to be surrounded by your enemies and festering. Look what happened to the United States in World War II. We thought we could sit it out until Pearl Harbor got bombed. The Japanese thought that they could take us out, and they came very close to wiping out our Pacific fleet. Had the aircraft carriers not been providentially at sea, they very well would have wiped out our capacity to wage war in the Pacific and would have spread. The Chinese are already engaged in internet attacks against the United States. Russians are engaged in internet attacks against the United States. They target our internet service providers to spy on Americans. We're at war, and some of you don't even want to realize it. Joe Biden doesn't want to realize it. You're not going to be able to be neutral. The question is this: do you want your child to die in war? I assume your answer is my answer: no. So why are we not then allowing Ukrainian children to use our weapons to kill the bad guys, so your children do not have to use their lives to stop the bad guys? Why not help the Ukrainians stop the North Koreans, so your children are not having to stop the North Koreans? You can say, we don't have the money. I understand that. You can say, we need to do something about North Carolina before we do something about Ukraine. We are spending way more money in North Carolina than we're spending in Ukraine. I saw people the other day were outraged about the fact that we're sending $100 million to Lebanon. We're spending $100 million to rebuild I-20 or I-24 through North Carolina. we're spending the same amount on an interstate in North Carolina we're giving entirely to Lebanon. Before you say we don't have the money, why not stop studying transgender penguins in Antarctica and we can use that money? Why not stop funding the gender transitions of prisoners in federal How about that? Normally I would talk about Georgia stuff. We've got Georgia news, and I will get to the Georgia news, but I'm not going to get to the Georgia news first. Instead, I'm just going to talk to you. I'm assuming you can handle listening. You're mature enough to handle listening to a radio talk show that doesn't necessarily automatically delve into the raw politics of the day. I hope that you can, because I want to talk to you. I last night spoke at the Middle Georgia Salvation Army. You know, the Salvation Army these days, it's very bizarre. The Salvation Army has become controversial because it's Christian. You know, one of the reasons that Chick-fil-A is being bombarded with hatred these days is because Chick-fil-A supports them. Sorry, folks, we had to jump into backup programming. I think, well, UGA didn't show up, but maybe it was the Longhorn outside got in the way of the satellite, and well, it blocked the connection. So having some internet instability here all of a sudden. All right, I'm back. So back to the brilliant mind of Eric Erickson, what I was saying before the Longhorn decided to kill my internet because he might have pooped on the cable. There's a big steer outside. Your kids, I don't want your kids or my kids to die having to fight the North Koreans or the Russians in Ukraine. But if we stop spending money on the study of transgender penguins in Antarctica and all the other crazy stuff we're spending money on, we can spend money on North Carolina and on Ukraine. We've got the budget to be able to do it. In fact, what we've spent on Ukraine and Israel is only about 1% of the defense budget, not even the federal budget. We're spending more money to rebuild an interstate in North Carolina than we've given to Lebanon. If you've decided that we can't spend money on this stuff, you're creating excuses, and here's what's going to happen. It's going to fester, it's going to get worse, and it's going to get to a situation where ultimately we are going to be dragged into a conflict, and when we're dragged into the conflict, it's going to be at a time not of our choosing, but their choosing. It's going to be in a situation that is not to our advantage, but to their advantage. If the United States is not willing to lead, China's going to. I don't know if you know, I don't know if you're aware of this. I have mentioned this before. I'm not making this up. This is not to be hyperbole. This is real. The Chinese, the Russians, and the Iranians are in Venezuela right now, helping the Venezuelan military. So look at the playing field and look at the map. You've got Cuba and you've got Venezuela. You've got Nicaragua here. You probably got Justin Trudeau, frankly. You got South Africa helping them. You've got Iran helping them. You've got China, North Korea, and Russia. They are building an Axis alliance against the Western powers. And they have decided that they have a worldview and they have a vision that is hostile to the United States, and they wish to exert it and wish to exert dominance in the world. If we make a choice to decline, they will make a choice to ascend. And if we do decline, they will ascend. And you can say we don't have the money to do this stuff. You're not going to have the money if they ascend, because you know what? The dollar will not be the reserve currency in the world anymore, and it'll cost you a whole lot more to engage in global transactions. The world revolves around the American dollar. The world revolves around the American trade system. The world revolves around the American commerce system. The world revolves around the American commercial system. It's one of the things people don't seem to understand. You pride yourself in a strong dollar is actually bad for the economy. A strong dollar makes it far more expensive for everyone else in the world to buy American goods. A strong dollar actually hurts your manufacturing base in Ohio because it makes American goods much more expensive abroad. And you can't just sell to Americans to have a thriving global number one economy. You have to sell to everybody else on the planet. The dollar becomes strong when people aren't trading in it as much. Think about the British pound. For a long time, the British pound has been so much more expensive than us. It's because nobody's buying British goods. Have you ever seen British cuisine? It's gross. And you buy a Range Rover, they're beautiful vehicles, but you better sell it before it hits 50,000 miles or you're going to have it in the garage every other week. This is the dynamic of the world today. It is a dangerous world where a group of nations who hate us wish us to be off the stage. And sadly, there are too many people on both sides of the aisle in this country who also want us off the stage. And they've convinced that we can live in a bubble and be isolated. In an age before the intercontinental ballistic missile, maybe you could, but you can't now. In the age before the hypersonic missile and the stealth nuclear submarine, you could be isolated from the rest of the world. And in an age where the rest of the world did not conduct 9 out of 10 transactions in the American dollar, you could be isolated from the rest of the world. The North Koreans are sending troops to invade Ukraine with Russia. Those troops are going to get the battle experience that they then need to cross a red line into South Korea, where many of your children are stationed. This doesn't end well if we don't lead. And unfortunately for us, the loudest voices on the right have turned isolationist, many of them having unknowingly embraced Russian propaganda that's just asking questions. And on the left, they're run by a dementia patient and surrounded by a bunch of progressives who actually hate American leadership in the world. And North Korea sees it, and China sees it, and Iran sees it, and Russia sees it, and Venezuela sees it, and Cuba sees it, and don't look now, Haiti has collapsed, waiting for a strong leader to come in and set up shop, and the Chinese are eyeing that western half of that island. You do not want the Chinese to go establish law and order in Haiti because they'll get a military base about 150 miles from the United States. These are dangerous times. And the President of the United States is too busy taking care of her husband who has dementia and teaching her college classes with her doctorate in education, and is too preoccupied. And the Vice President of the United States is a blithering idiot. I had somebody last night tell me, I was sitting next to him on a plane, so, you know, she passed the California bar. She's got to be a smart person. The California bar is the hardest bar exam in the nation, and she passed it the second time. I know many lawyers who are idiots, and Kamala Harris ain't bright. God bless her for having enough knowledge to pass the California bar the second time. For the record, I passed the bar exam the first time. But still, these are dangerous times, and the Democrats are not fit to lead in dangerous times, particularly with a dementia-addled old man.
He'll do the research and give it to you straight. Eric Erickson is live every weekday.
2:20 in the Coolray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center right now. Travel advisory dealing with a crash 575 southbound below Highway 92, exit 7. It knocks out the left lane, causing delays through Woodstock. Forgo 575 by using Highway 5. This report brought to you by Georgia Pathways. If you're uninsured and working, volunteering, or pursuing higher education, you may be eligible for free health insurance through Georgia Pathways. Visit pathways.georgia.gov to learn more. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
The morning rush hour, evening rush hour, and everything in between.
The through lanes are jammed up as you leave Marietta.
Tune in 24/7 with the Triple Team Traffic Center.
Stoppage either side as you merge north and south on the connector.
Your source for Atlanta's traffic.
Traffic coming up from the East Freeway on 285 northbound.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Get pre-approved for a great rate on your auto loan at Coosa Valley Credit Union. Act now for as low as 4.99 or save money by refinancing your current auto loan. Visit a Coosa Valley Credit Union branch near you.
Equal Opportunity Lender.
Now, it's your time to make more money and be your own boss. Come to the Franchise Show this Saturday and Sunday at the Cobb Galleria Center to meet with the best money-making franchises. Learn how you can open a successful business. This life-changing event is your only chance to see all the hottest money-making opportunities in one place. Find the perfect business for you at the Franchise Show, presented by the Entrepreneur Source. This weekend, the Cobb Galleria Center. Get tickets at AtlantaFranchiseShow.com.
So what is this, a 15? Okay, let's go. Things that Artisan Custom Closet can help you organize. Your closets, your pantries, garages, home offices, kids' playrooms, mudrooms, laundry rooms, family rooms, and more. Schedule your free in-home consultation now at artisancustomclosets.com.
If you're losing your hair or maybe just starting to notice that you're losing it, you're looking for a solution, I got you because I know the team at Advanced Hair. It's Mark Aaron back with you. You know, they're the real solution. They come with a guarantee, and I can see what they can do, and you can too, just like these guys have.
Everything has been fantastic. Person that I came in and talked to initially about it was very helpful. When I came for the procedure, everybody walked me through everything step by step. It was very well explained and very easy. If you're sitting on the fence, just do it. You'll be really, really happy. I wish I would have done this 5 or 10 years earlier.
One of the things I like about them, not some factory in a big medical building. These guys are like a dream team that came together and said, let's do this right. So good, they guarantee the growth, and you get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts when you use my name, Mark, at advancedhair.com. That's the promo code MARK at advancedhair.com. One-day treatment, life-changing results, guaranteed to grow. My name, Mark. Use it at advancedhair.com.
You get up every morning and make it all work. You make the hospitals and the labs work. You keep the shelves stocked, the cash registers ringing, the production lines producing. At Vestas, we have the uniforms and workplace supplies you need to do what you do every day. When you think uniforms, floor mats, first aid kits, restroom supplies, think Vestas. Vestas, uniforms and workplace supplies for the people who make it all work. Learn more at Vestas.com.
Hey folks, it's Eric, and here we come into the election homestretch. Buckle up, buttercups. On the other side of November 5th, I can assure you there will be massive policy changes. The stock market will reward some sectors and punish others. So here's my question. Is your retirement plan ready? Is there a strategy? Do you even have a plan? Look, it isn't too late on this. David Nicholas and the team at Nicholas Wealth Management help Christy and me set a plan for whoever wins the election. They can help you too. I really urge you to do what we did. Get a complimentary Morningstar analysis from David and his team. This is a $1,000 value, but right now my listeners can get this complimentary. So if you have saved $500,000 or more for retirement, call Nicholas Wealth Management. Get this unbelievably valuable analysis for free. David and his team will then review it with you, and it can give you more clarity on how ready your nest egg is for the uncertainty ahead. So if you've saved $500,000 or more for retirement, please go to nicholaswealth.com. That's nicholaswealth.com, or call 678-990-8500. That's 678-990-8500, nicholaswealth.com.
Nicholas Wealth is an independent financial services firm that uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is prepared for information purposes only. It does not address specific investment objectives with a financial situation and the needs of any person. This is a paid advertisement.
95.5 WSB, your 2024 election station.
Join Eric's Army of Activists. Text ARMY to 33777 now.
It's Eric Erickson. Welcome. The phone number, well, you can't get the phone number. If you want to email contact@ewerickson.com, I can play your audio, but my call screener is killing hogs today. He needed it. It was therapeutic. I just want you people to know I'm a great boss. Despite firing my employees every week, I'm actually a good boss. And I told Charlie, I was like, you need to go. You need to go kill hogs. So I'm here in the Texas governor's mansion. My buddy Brad, how long have we known each other? It's been like a very long, 20 years. So there's this book in here, the Governor's Mansion of Texas, and he starts flipping through this while I'm on commercial break. It's like, did you know behind you is Stephen F. Austin's desk and a silver candelabra with Davy Crockett that he sat for to pose for? This is just the library in the Texas Governor's Mansion. They're having a huge party on the front lawn of this house tonight. Governor Kemp is going to be here. Governor Abbott will be here. It is it's a tailgate party, and for the UGA Texas game tomorrow. So Brad and our buddy Kevin called me weeks ago and said, hey, why don't you come over and do the show from the governor's mansion? Now I'm on in Austin, Texas. So hi to my listeners in Austin who are listening to me, although I'm in delay here, so they need to put me live. But nonetheless, I'm on here in Austin, and it made sense to come over and do this show from the governor's mansion. I've been here before when Governor Perry was governor. He had me over a couple times for lunch with him. Great lunch. Man, I do have to tell you, I don't know that it's the same with the current governor, but with the old governor, they put avocado on everything. It did not matter what you ate. There was going to be and I'm not a big avocado eater. And to me, it tastes like grass. Like, I'm not a guacamole eater. It's like if I wanted grass, I'd get grass. But mushy grass in my mouth, my father loves avocados. I've just never been an avocado fan. Nonetheless, I digress. We've got more. Believe it or not, there's actually more of the show to go other than my disdain for avocados. I did tell y'all I'm a picky eater. When we come back, we got a lot more we need to talk about, including how they found Seymour. Have you seen the video of his final moments? This was a man resigned to die. The moral of the story is don't try to exterminate the Jews. And it's what he tried to do. And bizarrely, perversely, there is this wild sense from some people that he was the hero. He was not a hero. He was a monster. And the Israelis have slayed another monster. I'll give you the details when we come back. First, I need to tell you about my friends at Vision Computer. If you need a computer, any one of you nationwide, whether you're on my affiliate in Kalispell, Montana, or Sacramento, California, here in Austin, call Vision at 404-COMPUTE. They can build you a computer. It's going to be better than the one you get at the one-size-fits-all big box store. It's going to last you longer than that computer. It's going to be customizable and upgradable to preserve it longer, so you don't have to constantly upgrade the whole machine. And you're going to get their tech support for free. So, for example, you're an independent contractor, you're a sole proprietor, you work out of a coffee shop, you need someone you can call if something's not working or you don't know how to do something. You'll get a special number from Vision Computers for free if you buy your computer from them, and they'll be your tech support. But let's say you want it, you got a small business, and you can't afford an in-house IT guy, but you didn't get your computers from Vision. Call them at 404-COMPUTE for $179 a year. They will be your IT support. They'll help you with email. They'll help you with printer. They'll keep you up and going. Thousands of 5-star reviews. 15 seconds or less, you get an answer faster than Google search. Call them and tell them I sent you. You're going to save even more money. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News, weather,
Traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's news and talk.
It's 2:30. I'm Veronica Waters. WSB's top local story. Georgia hits another early voting milestone today, a cool 1 million.
The million mark. Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger says more than 250,000 ballots have been cast each day so far.
What it really means is people trust the system.
Most counties have at least some locations open for weekend early voting as well. And the presidential nominees will be trying to get more people to the polls as Vice President Harris plans a Saturday rally in Atlanta, followed by an appearance with former President Obama late next week. Former President Trump has a rally in Duluth on Wednesday. Jennifer Perry, 95.5 WSB.
State and national Republicans are appealing a Georgia judge's ruling that struck down a slate of controversial new election rules passed by allies of former President Donald Trump on the state election board. Some of those rules relate to the state's election certification process, and opponents of them have said it would inject chaos into the process. The head of the Veterans for Justice group in Metro Atlanta believes the DeKalb County DA took the easy way out, not charging the policeman who fatally shot a man at the VA Medical Center. The DA says John Robert Smith was threatening to cut his own throat and asking police to shoot him back in January, and then lunged at a nurse. Retired Army Lieutenant Colonel Amos Smith thinks the police were wrong.
There's a lot of problems here. Training is one. How to de-escalate, who to de-escalate, what to do.
Smith was shot more than a dozen times. Preventable diseases are rising as more parents are refusing to vaccinate their kids.
The number of children getting routine vaccinations is dropping as more parents are opting out. But that's also increasing the risk of preventable disease outbreaks. The CDC says this school year, as many as 7% of kindergartners aren't getting their recommended vaccines, an increase from 5% just 4 years ago. As a result, there's an increased danger of outbreaks of measles and whooping cough.
That's Michael George reporting. It's 2:32. Live team coverage of traffic and weather next.
The Federal Reserve finally did it. For the first time in over 4 years, they dropped interest rates. This is Scott Slade. Well, now's the time to call Myland. Get your application underway and see how you can take advantage of the Fed's latest move. Myland has several loan programs to help you access the equity in your home. And many of Myland's clients are using their equity to consolidate debts or make home improvements. Whether it's a kitchen or a basement remodel, Myland can show you the best way to use your equity to your advantage. When you involve something as important as your home, you want the best local company to work with. That's why I choose Myland. Myland's helped thousands of Atlanta homeowners just like you save the most amount of money with their mortgage. In fact, their average customer saves over $700 a month. Call Myland, 770-817-2000, 770-817-2000, or online at myland.com, spelled it M-I-L-E-N-D. NMLS and Georgia Mortgage Licensee 148769, located at 8995 West Side Parkway, Alpharetta, Georgia 30009. Myland is an equal housing lender.
Cooler weather, shorter days, busy schedules, all great reasons to treat your family to a Bullfrog hot tub from Brown's Pools and Spas. The perfect place to relax and unwind. Only Bullfrog offers the Jetpack Therapy system. Each seat is customized to fit every body in your family. Now through October 20th, shop the Peaceful Life hot tub sale with instant rebates up to $2,000 or 0% financing. Brown's Pools and Spas, celebrating 50 years of BrownsPools.com.
Dave Baker here for Air Quality Systems. You know them, my air duct cleaning experts. Okay, so here's the deal on why you should have your air ducts cleaned. I can sum it up in about 5 words. Gunk gets in your ductwork. Either it's outside air gunk like pollen, or it's condensation from having a very hot summer, which can create mold, or it's pet hair, or it's bugs and critters making a nest. It's all gunk. And it's not healthy to breathe. That's why you need Air Quality Systems. They will come to your house and clean all that gunk out of your ductwork. That's all they do. They won't wash your siding. They won't clean your carpet. They'll just clean your ducts to the same standards using the same process that they use to clean at UGA, at Children's Healthcare, and at other major hospitals in the metro area. You'll get upfront, all-in pricing over the phone, and your ducts will be clean, providing you with cleaner air to breathe and adding years to the life of your HVAC equipment. Simply go to airqualitysystems.com and breathe easy. That's airqualitysystems.com.
2:34 live team coverage of traffic and weather begins with a quick look at your drive from Veronica Harrell.
And right now, travel advisory all because of that crash. 575 southbound below Highway 92, exit 7, and knocks out the left lane, causing delays through Woodstock. So use Highway 5. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Mostly sunny today, high 68.
Right now, 67 degrees at 2:35 on 95.5 WSB.
Smart, fearless, and occasionally funny. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. I am delighted to have you with me. If you, by the way, text the word Army to 33777 wherever you are listening in the nation. If you'll put in your name, zip code, and email address, we'll be able to keep in touch with you. And we now have this activism center. So, particularly, Brad, I say this in front of you. My buddy Brad is here in the room with me. Whether it's Texas or Georgia or elsewhere, like I know we've got like 15,000 people from Texas who are there. So whenever it's time for school choice or whatever, I can generate an email to everyone in Texas and say, here's the link. Call your state representative or state senator, not just Congress, but state legislative officials. And it will connect you to their office, and you can tell them support school choice. Or for those of us in Georgia, tort reform, things like that. I swear to y'all, for me and my vantage point, so those of you not in the Southeast, there's a major trial lawyer firm called Morgan & Morgan. They're out of Florida, and they're all over the Southeast, and they're spreading. I think it's the largest trial lawyer shop in the country. But every time I see their billboards creeping up 75 towards my house, shut up, Siri, I'm like, gosh, can we pass tort reform? And listen, I no disrespect to the trial lawyers out there, because I used to be one and understand. People sometimes do have to file lawsuits and things like that, but please stop. My watch is going crazy with me. Apparently, it doesn't like Texas. Anyway, I just tort reform. So anyway, text ARMY to 33777. Now, let's talk about the greatest story of the day. I realize Scripture says pray for your enemies. So I may be sinning a little bit here, but I love the story of Yahya Sinwar dying. The man is a monster, and it was a total accident how they killed him. I gotta, if you haven't seen, this is a mind-blowing story. We put it in the show notes today. It's from the Wall Street Journal. On Wednesday, Yahya Sinwar's luck ran out. He was killed in a chance encounter with Israeli soldiers training to be squad leaders. They had no idea who he was. The moment that changed the war in Gaza came around 3 p.m. when the trainees searching for Hamas tunnels in the southern city of Rafah saw 3 armed men leaving a building. The soldiers opened fire. One of the men fled into a nearby building. Soldiers sent a reconnaissance drone after him. The video feed showed the militant wounded and alone, sitting in a chair. In a final act of defiance, the man hurled a chunk of wood at the drone before the soldiers opened fire again, and the house collapsed on him. It wasn't until the next morning, when other soldiers returned to sift through the rubble, that they noticed a resemblance between the dead militant and Sinwar, the Middle East's most wanted man. We operated a lot of fire, a lot of artillery. A soldier involved in Wednesday's operation, whose name wasn't disclosed, told Israel's Channel 12. When we heard he was killed, we joked around saying, how crazy would it be if it was us? Day in and day out, since October 7th, the deadliest day for Israelis since the founding of their country in 1948, soldiers and spies have searched for Sinwar. Using all the technology and advanced weaponry that Israel and its allies, including the United States, could bring to bear. At times, they came tantalizingly close, but he was always one step ahead. At one point, soldiers arrived in an underground compound just moments after Sinwar had fled, with one senior officer saying Sinwar had left behind a cup of coffee that was still hot. But they could never catch the man until members of Israel's Battalion 450, which trains infantry commanders, stumbled upon him by accident. With the death of Sinwar, who devised and led the October 7th attacks, leaving 1,200 people dead and more than 200 held hostages, Israel has now killed nearly all of Hamas's top leaders in Gaza, with the significant exception of Sinwar's brother Muhammad. Muhammad oversees the Iran-backed Islamic group's day-to-day military operations and could potentially become its leader now. Hamas confirmed the death of Sinwar in a statement on Friday. The killing is a crowning achievement for Benjamin Netanyahu, who had called for Sinwar's death as part of his oft-touted goal of total victory. So we were sitting in here earlier talking about this story and how so many of these things come about accidentally, it seems. You know, they stumbled upon Saddam Hussein. He was hiding in a hole in the ground with a ventilation shaft. You know the story of how they killed Hassan Nasrallah, which is, I sent this to my kids' math and physics teachers and said, next time the kids say they'll never use this stuff, tell them the story. So Hassan Nasrallah was giving a speech the day that he died, and the Israelis realized it was a live speech. So they sent an F-16, an F-A-18, and an F-22, and sent them in 3 different directions over Beirut at sonic speed to generate sonic booms, and through Hassan Nasrallah's microphone could time how long each sonic boom got picked up by his microphone, and were able to triangulate his position and launched a missile with very little collateral damage. That is a true story. They sent 3 different types of planes because they could tell the type of sonic boom each one made, and triangulated his position as the sound came through the live microphone. And they launched a missile and killed him. That was a very cool act. Y'all, listen, I'm still stuck on the pager thing. That is the most Jewish thing ever, and I mean that lovingly. You convince Hezbollah that the Jews should be their pager supplier, and you profit off the people you're about to blow. I mean, that was brilliance. That was so brilliant. This entire war, the Israelis have been on their A game ever since October 7th. And here's the point, tying all this stuff together. The Israelis have had to be on their A game because they got complacent on October 6th. And on October 6th of last year, the Israelis were not using manpower to keep the line between Hamas and Hezbollah, or Hamas and the Israelis. They got complacent and thought they could use digital technology and they could use sensors under the ground. So the towers that they had and the lookouts that they had, there were no people there. There were sensors. And the sensors contemplated tunnels, not parachutes with fans strapped to their back. And they sailed across the fence, undetected and unseen by electronic sensors, and killed 1,200 Israelis and took more than 200 hostage, including some American citizens. Because Israel had gotten complacent and trusted the technology. We have gotten complacent. Now what's happened? Israel had to get up to speed very quickly, be on its A game, and it's taken them a year to eliminate their enemies. We have gotten complacent. And we should not have to have a massive escalation in Europe with North Korean invaders for us to be on our A game. Part of this also comes back to the American bureaucracy. I made this point several times, and it's worth pointing out again for those of you new to the show. Now, some business leaders treat this as a mythology. I actually know a number of private business owners and actually worked for a law firm that handled a lot of private businesses, and they all took it very seriously, and they saw it pattern after pattern after pattern. 3 generations of a privately held company, the company tends to go out of business. Most third-generation privately owned companies are sold or they go out of business. Why? Because the grandfather built the company and poured his heart and soul into it. The father saw his father pour his heart and soul into the company and knew the effort it took to make the company into something big. The grandson, the third generation, has only ever known the wealth of the company and its success, and therefore runs it into the ground, taking for granted everything that was built before him. That tends to be the theory, and in practical application, it holds up. In fact, I worked for a law firm for a number of years, and we had a rule of thumb that with very limited exception, when the third generation took over the privately held company, we stopped representing the company. Because while we could have made a ton of money, the lawyer who was in charge of this particular division in the company is like, it kills me to see these companies that we've helped build be run into the ground by the third generation. Now look at the United States bureaucracy. We had World War II, and our soldiers and sailors came home and became public servants, committed to the greatness of the United States, understanding the only way the world would be peaceful and prosperous is for us to lead. The second generation of government bureaucrat came in after them and knew the toil and labor it took for that first generation after World War II to make the American bureaucracy competent and capable to lead a free world. We're now on the third generation of American bureaucrat, and all they've ever known is the greatness of America. They presume it was them. They do not understand the toil and the labor. They do not understand that it could all go away overnight. And as a result, they're not on their A game. They're not competent. They just wanted a cushy government job with government benefits. And they do not understand what it means for America to lead, because all they've ever known is America leading. And on the outside, there are people on the left and the right who are playing hypothetical games with all of you and me, because all we have ever known is American greatness. And so they say, well, we're not really great, but we can be great if we just pull back from the world stage. If we undo all of the things those who came before us did to perpetuate an American world sphere of influence, we'll be great again. And I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about the people who have hijacked his slogan, Make America Great Again. I think Trump actually gets it. It's a dangerous time. Because they say, I'm just asking questions. I mean, what if we did pull out of Europe? You know why we're in Europe? You all have the same luxury that I do, born when I was born and born when you were born. We've never seen Europe at war. Europe has been at war for 2,000 years until 1945. And from 1945 to now, there's been peace in Europe. Why? Because we're there. The American Republic has been the damper on the nationalistic zeals of European powers. We've been in charge, not them. You put the Europeans back in charge of Europe, and you're going to get back to war, because it's what the Europeans do. They built the European Union thinking that that could solidify them. Look, the European Union is cracking and breaking apart. The French don't like the Germans in charge. The Germans don't want the Italians in charge. The Italians don't want the French in charge. And the French sure as hell don't want the Greeks in charge. The Italians don't want the Greeks in charge either. So the Germans exert control. Hey, how does it go when Germany exerts control over Europe? Pop quiz. So we're in charge. We're the dampening rod. And there are people in this country now who think, it's fine. We can give it all up. You give it all up, it begins to crumble. Israel had to be on its A game and still only accidentally, providentially was able to kill Sinwar, and through their genius came up with a mathematical formula to be able to target Nasrallah. We need to be back on our A game. And make no mistake about it, we're not on our A game right now. We're not on our A game. But if we retreat from the world stage, nature abhors a vacuum, so does power. It will be filled by a group that does not have our interests at heart. And for all of you who say we can't afford it, you can't afford not to be the leader of the free world. The Chinese should not be put in a position for you to learn that the hard way. And there are too many Americans these days who just want to learn the lesson the hard way. And they won't believe it. They've all become Missourians, the show me state. You got to show them. And the only way you can show them that I'm right and that people like me who think like me are right is to get off the world stage. And by then, you've now ceded the world to people who hate us. The problem, however, is that our American bureaucracy has forgotten all of this as well. And they and our leaders are willing to run us off a fiscal cliff because they've taken it all for granted and they do not appreciate it can all go away overnight. With banks collapsing and with others teetering on the brink, with community banks shutting down and overburdened, and with regulators fighting these inevitable wars, Swiss America has been reminding people there is a secret war on cash. If you read the report, The Secret War on Cash, you'll see how the government has gone through great pains to be able to monitor even your cash purchases, even your digital currency and crypto purchases, so that the government always knows what you're spending, where you're spending. There's no privacy. It's dangerous. Swiss America has been warning about the secret war on cash for some time. They're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau, and they'd love to give you their report. It can help you protect your assets. You can get a free copy by calling or texting 800-289-2646. The all-out war on cash includes those digital forms of currency. It's spreading, so just text my name, Eric, to 800-289-2646. 800-289-2646. You can go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric. Remember, ERICK, SwissAmerica.com/Eric. Or call or text my name to Swiss America at 800-289-2646. Get this free report. Takes less than 15 minutes to read. 800-289-2646. Message and data rates may apply.
He'll do the research and give it to you straight. Eric Erickson is live every weekday.
251 in the Cool-Rate Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Well, a little better news out of Woodstock. The crash 575 southbound below Highway 92 exit 7. Now all off to the left, but still very tough delays. Continue to use Highway 5. Moving elsewhere downtown, just volume 75, 85 north and southbound. There looks like there's something new cooking out by the airport. 285 westbound, the inner loop just before Riverdale Road, exit 60, causing delays. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB. WSB.
Stay connected to Atlanta's news, weather, and traffic with the 95.5 WSB app. Listen to Atlanta's morning news. EVH, Eric Erickson, Mark Aram, and Shelley Winter. No matter where you go, 95.5 WSB and the WSB app. Download it today or find us in the iHeart and Odyssey apps.
Fall is a busy time, and selling your home can be overwhelming. The Guaranteed Offer from Mark Spain Real Estate is the easiest way to sell your home. Hi, it's Chris Chandler. Mark Spain Real Estate's Guaranteed Offer allows you to bypass the market, skip the uncertainties of a traditional home sale, and close within days. No showings, no open houses, and no costly repairs. With over 12,500 five-star reviews, you can trust the most experienced real estate team in the U.S. to sell your home fast. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Here's an important message from Choice Men's Health.
I'm Dr. Katz and I'm the Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Are you performing the way you want to in the bedroom? If the answer is no and you've tried Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra and were disappointed, then you need to come see us immediately. If you don't see results on the first visit, then there's no charge. Many of our patients have medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and prostate problems. I'm happy to say that we have 98% success rate with all our patients. Our customized solutions will allow you to perform within 10 minutes and last an hour and even longer. You can regain your love life and tackle your ED and PE problems. Guys, your partner will never complain again. Our clinic has the most affordable prices, so if you visit other clinics and you're not completely satisfied, then you need to call Choice Men's Health.
Regain your love life regardless of your age or medical history. Choice Men's Health guarantees results on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call now, 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
So what's the deal? Suddenly not enough room for everything? Need to get organized? Dave Baker here for Artisan Custom Closets. The Bakers were in the same dilemma as you are now until we called the certified designers at Artisan Custom Closets. We scheduled a free in-home consultation and they came out and together we came up with plans for a new master closet tailored to our needs. It's great. They maximized our closet space and helped us to get organized. Schedule your free in-home consultation now at artisancustomclosets.com.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Get the podcast, live stream, email, and social media links by texting Eric to 33777 now.
It is your host from the Texas Governor's Mansion here for the Georgia and Texas game. And I'm not even actually going to the football game. I have to go home tomorrow. I got a family obligation, and my wife would probably shoot me if I stayed. I've been really tempted to stay, but I can't even get it. The tickets are outrageous. I've got a special, I belong to a group and I can go through a special portal. I can get a ticket, but it's like the really good tickets are like $20,000. Like college football game, I'm not spending $500 to go to the game. Plus, I don't like crowds anyway. I get a better view in front of my TV than at the stadium. I'm not there. I don't need the experience of sweating next to strangers at a football game. Nonetheless, so I've gotten this from a lot of people because it's a big national headline. It's not just a local headline in Georgia. More than 1 million Georgians have already cast ballots in early voting, including Jimmy Carter. A buddy of mine asked me, how is it that a man who can barely breathe and may not actually be alive was able to cast a vote? So he hasn't voted for president yet. I know the headline says he's voted for president, but he has not voted for president yet. He's cast his ballot. His ballot will not be counted until Election Day. It won't be counted till Election Day. If he passes away before election, listen, I was an elections lawyer here. You know, one of I was still a new lawyer. I hadn't actually even been admitted in court yet. I passed the bar. I just hadn't got the certification from Spirit. We had a lady, her brother had cast a ballot in a race. It was contested. He died the day after the election. Someone else's vote was rejected because he had died right on the day of the election. He died, and there was a big argument over whether or not his vote counted or not. Well, given the time of day that he died, he couldn't have voted, so his ballot was rejected. But this poor old lady, it's like the scene out of My Cousin Vinny where the older lady puts on the Coke bottle glasses. This woman does. She had signed her brother's ballot for him, and you're not supposed to do that. And they asked her why she had done it. Did she not know she was breaking the law? And literally this woman says, keep in mind,
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
It's not tax season, but I'm talking about the IRS, and it's that there are scam calls going on all over the country with people pretending to be collectors from the IRS or saying they're investigators from the IRS, and you're in big trouble and you owe back taxes and you have to pay them right now or else. You're in big trouble. And people are so freaked when they get these phone calls and the threats that are implied or stated that they're turning around and sending money to scamsters impersonating the IRS. The IRS doesn't do that kind of thing. They're not calling you and threatening they're going to throw you in jail right now or anything like that. Any calls like that, any emails like that, any texts like that, they're all scams. Don't take the bait. If it's a phone call, hang up the phone. I'm Clark Howard.
Make your morning commute a lot more tolerable.
Only a left lane open past a big rig crash.
Atlanta's Morning News.
Delta's hired a law firm to pursue damages.
Everything you need to know before you start your day.
Now we're looking at about 12 inches of rain.
Monday at 5.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news.